the One Piece Podcast, episode 663 for the week of Sunday, March 15th, 2021. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
And my name is Alex.
And on today's show, we have our anime recap host, even though there's no anime recap this week. Sam Leach is joining us. How's it going, Sam?
I am back to be Steven's understudy once again.
I forgot that was your role. We have more understudies for Steven this week. We have non-binary game developer Donnie with us. How's it going, Donnie?
Good. Thanks for having me. I didn't know I was Steven's understudy, but I'll take this responsibility and I'll run with it.
Good.
I didn't know he worked at Donnie.
Apparently.
We're all Steven's understudy this week. We also have Greg Werner, the official contributor, official. You guys know the drill. Welcome, Greg.
It's Amia, Greg. Can I also be Steve? I'm kind of Steven's understudy right now because I've been contacting him a lot about the Toriyama work that I'm doing right now. So he's been extremely helpful with that.
Oh yeah, Greg, do you want to talk about that a little?
I'm translating some of Toriyama's one-shots. They're going to be compiled into a single volume by Viz, so that's super exciting.
Awesome.
Wow.
And your new column is out. We should mention that.
Is it?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It came out maybe this week. It was sometime this week.
Oh yeah, I write columns and stuff too, so.
Yeah, for the official One Piece website. Donnie, even though you've been on our show, that episode has not yet been released, so I feel like we should introduce you.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I am, as Zach said, I am a non-binary game dev working in the game industry out in LA. I've been a One Piece fan since I started either 2004 or 2005. I started with the phenomenal 4Kids dub, as many people do. Got into that for a while, but then fell off, I think, probably near the end of Alabasta when they stopped having episodes. And then I got back in.
Oh, you didn't watch the Funimation dub, eh?
It's not
around.
Nope. Well, I think I did for a bit, but then Cartoon Network stopped airing it, but I don't remember exactly which year that was.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And they brought it back again several years later, but nobody remembers that.
But then I got back in, so in like 2006 or 2007, I was on a forum, and someone had a forum signature back in those days of Frankie, and I was like, who's that character? That's One Piece? That's cool, I want to get back in. So I started reading again, and since, I think, 2007, near the end of Thriller Bark, I got caught up, and I've stayed weekly ever since.
I don't know if we talked about it last time, but you have the same time frame as me, I think, with the series. So that's cool. Today we're going to be talking about chapter 1007, Mr. Raccoon Dog, which I assume is also Mr. Tanuki in Japanese. There's no anime this week. Did we Sam? There's no official explanation for that, right?
I think there's a race.
Oh, there's a race.
Tokyo Marathon, maybe?
Oh, is it the women's? I know there's like a women's marathon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That does sound somewhat familiar.
It happens every year, really.
I think we'd remember after 12 of them. But no. There are a couple bits of news I want to mention. So first off, we mentioned 4Kids, so we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Forced to Watch 4Kids. Steve Yurko, would you like to tell the folks a little bit about that?
Alex, pass it on.
Alex, would you like to talk to us a little bit about that?
It's funny that Greg introduced himself like it's me, Greg, because he's basically doing an impression of 4Kids Genzo. We go through One Piece, but the 4Kids dub of it, 4 episodes per episode that we do, only on our Patreon, and it's slowly killing us, as I like to say. But then again, so is the slow march of time. So why am I complaining?
Wow, that got too real for a pitch about a Patreon podcast that we do. But thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
The next one's coming out when? Is it next week or next month? I can't. The slow march of time has got me confused.
Soon.
How
soon? Yeah. Okay. We also have our Fight Together episodes for season 2 coming out in probably the next month or so. Although they'll start coming out in the next month or so. We're not like Disney Plus or Netflix or something where we just dump all of them at the same time.
That's not what Disney Plus does at all.
That's true.
You know
You're
nothing.
right. That isn't.
It's weekly.
You're right. You're right. You're
You
right.
know nothing of my work.
Took a weird turn. We just recorded the Global Fandom episode with I know Greg, you know Gisim. We also had Gigi and Adil, so all friends of the shows, talking about their Western European look at One Piece and growing up with it. So part of that though is I learned that One Piece was the number one manga in France in 2020, and this news actually just came out this week, with over 2 million copies sold there. And, according to our esteemed guests there, it was also the second largest market outside of Japan. So that's pretty cool.
I guess I don't like Demon Slayer very much.
Yeah, I guess that's
Well, it's not surprising. They get French translated One Piece magazine. So
yeah, they're up to volume 8 in April.
you don't get that.
Of the
I
magazines.
want that.
Damn,
That's
we should have been
insane.
French.
Yeah.
You really made the wrong choice here in what nationalities?
Yeah.
Our lives. Just generally, we made the wrong choices. I had no idea, Ed, that One Piece popularity correlated so well with the One Piece magazines, but I like it. I'll take it.
Hey.
So yeah, if you're in France, good on you for having that. We also just learned that I think this week, episode 668 through 680 of the Dressrosa dub are out in English, and you were talking a little bit about that, Steve. How far are you in Dressrosa watching through that right now?
Let's see. Everyone just got turned. Everyone that was a toy got turned back into a human or an animal, whatever
man.
they were in their prior life.
That's when shit really pops off.
Yeah, and Dofi just revealed that he has super bullshit powers, and he can make a string clone, and he just filmed a birdcage.
Super bullshit powers.
I'm sorry, thinking back, it's kind of dumb. It's kind of the
Yes.
string clone dumb.
It's very dumb. I've always said
Okay.
this.
Wait, do we know how long season 11 goes? Like, do they have all of Dressrosa?
It's all of Dressrosa.
It's like 100 something episodes, right?
How many voyages is that
Yeah.
going to be?
Yes.
Like 10 or 9, maybe?
Too many.
Well,
I think 8 actually, because there's like 12 to 13 episodes.
Well, no, because in the anime the arc is like I think 115 episodes.
Oh, yeah, like 10.
So about 10 would be
Are you including the Silver Mine filler arc?
No.
Ooh.
I can go with be with Zoe. Yeah.
And the last piece of news is that the volume 97 cover for the United States just came out. That's coming out August 3rd, and Robin's face is not cut off because Robin's face is not on it to begin with.
Shame.
Yeah,
Shame.
so yeah, shame. So as I said at the top, we're going to be talking today about chapter 1007 with everyone here. We also have some piece together and probably some trivia too. So why don't we get into the show?
Why
All right.
don't we?
Yeah. This is the manga recap for chapter 1007, Mr. Raccoon Dog. Not related to Rocky Raccoon, but here we go.
Who's Rocky Raccoon? I'm curious.
Isn't that the song from the Beatles?
It's the Beatles song.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Steve only listens to 80s music, so he doesn't know who the Beatles are.
Yeah.
Fair enough, yeah.
yeah, Bullwinkle's friend was Rocket J Squirrel.
Yes.
Yes,
And then there's
yeah.
Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that's what you thought of. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm old. So this chapter's
I
the-
just got nervous for a second, and I'm like, oh god, Zach doesn't know anything about Disney Plus or their movies. I'm like that talking raccoon, Rocky. Oh, god,
Steve.
I'm not with him.
Steve, to be fair, you're well justified for thinking that. If only I could finish the sentence today. Anyway, you could read this chapter and all chapters as soon as they come out at shonenjump.viz.com and mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. Please don't spoil things for people, guys. Anyway, Ed, what's going on the cover here? This is something.
Sure. This is a reader request of Caesar giving penguin children gas-filled balloons by TKE Star AC. So,
Now, what kind of gas?
It better be helium.
It is floating.
could be nitrous. Anyway,
Could Caesar,
Also cool.
could
No.
Caesar solve all of our helium problems?
Yes.
he's very disinterested. I like it.
Would he?
Look how
Do we have
lazy
helium
he's being.
problems?
Well, an Alogia, it doesn't have like infinite power, do they?
Sure they do.
They just need to keep
They
their
don't-
energy up.
I
As
mean,
long as they eat meat.
Yeah.
Caesar was too busy thinking about whether he could and didn't really think about whether he should.
Unless you knock them out against their will, then all their powers are undone.
So
that's
I do have to appreciate the variety of hats and headwear, because you have like a 1920s like little straw, like
It's true.
top hat thing, and headphones, an army helmet that says war on it, a baseball cap, a cowboy hat, and a winter hat with a dealy bop on top. So
Wait, which one says
More like-
war on it? I
Senso?
see the senso. Oh, that's what means war.
Isn't that
Got
war?
it.
This means war.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What is
um,
it good for?
nothing.
Oh.
And
A free hat.
An exchange, apparently.
yeah. Robin should just take that cowboy hat off the other one. Doesn't look like he's using it.
Yes, please.
That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Bring back the hat, please.
Oh, but that would
The
that would
bangs have to
hide
come
her
back,
bare.
too.
That would hide her
Bangs.
bare forehead.
Yeah.
More like the penguins of Madagascar.
Oh my
Oh my
god!
God. Nailed it.
You're fired.
Don't
I was-
you don't have to write it down, Zach. I'm not
Too
drawing
late.
it.
Yeah.
I was just about to say Steve should draw that.
Oda's
Um,
been on
he
a
doesn't-
roll with like fruits and apples and stuff. There's been like 3 or 4 in the past, I think 5 chapters that have had
Yeah,
like fruit
weird.
baskets.
You're like commending him for like doing like nice backgrounds or something. Like, oh man, he's really putting a lot of more fruit in his manga.
It's important.
Hey, it's
what
healthy.
a well balanced
we
breakfast.
would all like Oda to eat more healthy. I think we can all
Oh,
say.
I think that the
He's
one
like,
in the
Smokes?
foreground.
He's like, no, have a banana. Smokes? No.
Banana.
The one in the foreground looks like he's got a 401k plan, as it says so on his hat.
Hey,
That's
Wonder
of
what
Captain
that 401
Crow.
could mean. Perhaps a clue from a previous chapter. Let's put on.
Ooh.
Let's put
What
on
happens
our,
in chapter
Crazy
401?
well, it's Usopp's
that's-
birthday, so that means that Usopp will feature prominently in this chapter.
Oh yeah, let's find out.
Should we?
That penguin's
Anything else
holding-
about this? Yeah, go ahead.
That'll do it for the manga recap.
Sam, what were you going
I
to
was just going
say?
to say that the penguin's holding an apple, and an apple is what the smile or Smiley's fruit is in right now, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
It's symbolism.
That is not what symbolism is. That is
to
not.
the YouTubes.
I will say, after Punk Hazard, you think they wouldn't let Caesar near children of any kind anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Are these penguin children or are they just penguin adults?
Says
I
pen-
guess
No, it
that's
says
the-
penguin children.
Oh, it does. Sorry, you're right.
Stop
And
letting
Donnie.
your kids near him.
Oh,
Bad
you poisoned
idea.
kids one time, and now it's all anyone can talk about.
Okay, Sam, look, I was going through volume 69, not just
Nice.
because of the
Nice.
funny number. Yeah, thank you. But also because it had a lot of related content to this chapter. And Caesar is such a consistent monster in all of that. He's like, Vegapunk, you're a wimp because you won't kidnap children to experiment on them. Like, that is his shtick. That is the thing he does.
Well,
And so Donnie is absolutely right. We shouldn't let him near children, whether penguin or human.
Nobody asked if the children had it coming.
Wow. Sam Leach
Leach, everyone.
hates children. So there you go, right there. Thinks children should be gassed and kidnapped and experimented on with gigantization experiments. By the way, chapter 401 was Pirates versus CP9, so I think we could say that will have nothing to do with this chapter. Ed, what goes on the
CP0
first
is in
page?
this chapter.
Shut up.
Spoilers.
Shut up.
God, don't spoil it for people.
Jesus. Yeah.
Hold on, guys. What does it say on the books in the bookshelf?
No. Nothing nearly that interesting happens on the first page. Anyway,
This isn't even the first page. Look,
Not
It's
on
the cover page.
If you let
it's
me-
like opening up a book and seeing
If you
the
let me
title.
begin.
You're like, let's examine this.
I'll start. Okay.
That's our job, Steve.
So
Well, if you look at the knots in the wood,
A job you get paid for.
It's a ring
Good
toss
point.
game.
Ed,
all right, so back into the performance floor inside the dome, and we get a cloud of smoke, and I don't believe it. Virtually all the captains of the Oniwa Banshu and the Mimawari Gumi are down. Remembering many of these people's names for the first time: Daikoku, Kazekage, Commander Hote.
it's a rogues gallery of who's what.
I've definitely
Because
seen
Kazekage,
these people
that's-
before.
That's one of my least favorite One Piece openings.
No, Kazekage is
Say
from
whoa,
Naruto.
Kage.
So
the only thing
Sorry.
to mention about this though is that he's doing the ninjas on the right and the samurai on the left. And
Right.
Hote he's on, I guess, from the samurai. He's the only one you really want to keep your eye on because he saw that something was going on with Fukurokuju earlier when he was walking off. So that's the only one you want to be a little bit interested in. For
What
now.
about the guy who looks like a pumpkin who we almost named an episode after? Fact.
Oh,
I think he got slashed by Hyogoro.
well, that's what we're all about to find out.
Yeah.
So,
The pumpkin guy is actually why he looks like that. He's a Jizo statue, the little statues that you see by the road, and he's wearing the umbrella hat because there's a children's story about an old man who walks through the mountains and he sees one of them looks cold, so he puts a hat on it, and like they show up at his house and they help him and they do stuff. So that's why he looks like that.
Got it.
all right. So we get some more onlookers who say that. So that's the power of the legendary Yakuza, huh? And Apu, looking on, says he resisted the effects of the ice oni, but still used its power. And Drake says, I think I can see why people feared Wano so much. And I'm thinking, how long have you been undercover? And this is this is what finally convinces you to say this. Like, you didn't understand why people feared Wano. You've been here for weeks or months even. But anyway.
Or years, because didn't he show up before the time skip to see Kaido?
I guess it could be 2 years, yeah.
He
Yeah.
at least went to Kaido's favorite island and beat up Scotch, or I think that guy's name.
Yeah.
Scotch,
No, it is
yeah.
Scotch.
Not to
it's
be
one of the
confused
two
with the other
Scotches.
Yeah, that's why I hesitated.
And Scotch and hot.
Somehow the one that barely shows up is more important than the one that kind of shows up. I know that's confusing.
I guess he had to be taken out because he doesn't really fit with like the Animal Kingdom theme. He's just
That's true.
Like a big.
Although
robot.
Scotch is a card game though,
Yeah.
so he fits with that motif. Ed, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, well, he
interrupt.
didn't really commit to the look. That's all I'm saying.
I understand.
I guess it was what Yatape is about to swing the sword down on Boss Hyogoro's head, and Hyogoro is telling him to empty his mind, and if I turn into an Oni, and he's sobbing at this point. Yatape, he says, "I know, boss. Just give me a moment. I'll do it. I'll do it right now." He proceeds to not do it, and he continues crying.
He's dramatically doing it for a long
no,
time.
he's struggling because as the woman Yakuza, I forget her name, she says, that man is like a father to us all. Of course he's struggling. And it says, again, we get another, do it now, it's Tsunagoro. And he says, I can't hold on either. And
That's Omasa there, right?
Omasa.
So that's a different.
Yeah.
Apparently, he can hold on.
well, there's no saving him at this point. Don't let me hurt you after I turn. And we get a cry from the Yakuza gallery of Boss Omasa. So
By the way, this in the anime will.
I don't wanna
do
think
a
about
pretty
it.
good job.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Donnie,
This will be these 2 pages will be one episode.
I'd expect as much. Donnie,
Yeah, so we turn the page, and the samurai yelling, "Damn it, isn't there any way we can make it in time? Is that medicine ready yet, Mr. Raccoon Dog?" Once again, this floor and all the people on it are being ravaged by the Ice Oni. And we see Queen and the subordinates are yelling, "Help us, Master Queen! Why must we suffer? Why do we have to die from our own boss's virus?" "What?" Queen looking very angry. "Shut up, you nobodies. Ice Oni is my masterpiece. In a sense, I made it just for you."
He like fast transforms into a dinosaur too, right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, you only do that when you're very angry,
Mhm.
and I do mean all of us as well. That's what we do
Oh, yeah.
when we're very angry.
Turn into
Yeah.
a triceratops when I'm mad sometimes.
I'm a Deinonychus.
Oh, good for you, Sam.
And then next page, Queen prepares to give his long villain speech. Goes, "You pleasures, you already gambled on a chance to gain powers and failed. You're dead weight that does nothing but laugh." And they laughed. They're like, "Hey, that's messed up." And then, "You waiters, there's no more shipments of smile fruits coming to us. You've lost your chance to gain powers." And the waiters look like they didn't realize that until now. He keeps yelling, a cigar falling out of his mouth, or staying in, actually, somehow. "You'll be waiting forever, so if there's any way you layabouts will ever be useful to this almighty crew, is becoming Oni in your last moments and letting your death serve a glorious purpose." Huh? That sounds like you're telling us to die. That's exactly what I'm saying. We can always find more soldiers.
Extreme close up.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Do you hear that, Stormy? Die.
See, Queen is nothing if not direct.
You don't usually
we
get
lack
the
that.
directly
Yeah.
into the nostril shot.
Mm-hmm. that actually makes
Well,
it for me. I like that. It's just
Yeah.
like, I'm an
When
evil
you're a
brontosaurus.
brachiosaurus with a when you're a brachiosaurus with a mustache, the up nostril shot is an important one.
It's not just nose hair.
Yeah, he's no Gold Roger, I'll tell you that. So we turn the page here, and we have a pleasure and a waiter here reacting to part of this speech while an ice oni shreds some people behind them. And so the pleasure saying, "Oh, that's so wrong." So wrong. How could you say that? And the other guy just can't believe that Queen is just being so honest with them and just really appreciates that honesty. And Queen saying, "Look, I gave you a chance for survival. Be thankful to me, because a few of you could have just a few of you could have used those antibodies to survive." And they said, "Well, damn." And you know, everyone here is just in shock, and there's a bunch of just random people getting clawed alive here. Is there anything interesting in any of these shirts here, Greg?
Well, one thing I gotta ask is this first Oni that attacks, is that the same guy who yells out to Queen in the previous page? They look kind of similar. They look very much like Fukaboshi.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Greg, do you know? Is there anything on the written there?
Yeah, so I think it was a chapter ago or 2 chapters ago, there was the he started in with the t-shirts again, and this
Yep.
time it's not actually quoting what they're saying, it's just kind of describing the situation, and in some ways it's like going across multiple shirts maybe even, but this one is a little bit hard to tell because it's not quite clear how much English he's using, because the ZMER could technically, if he's using like keyboard shortcuts for the Z, that means ja in Japanese, so it could be jama. So like he could have been like, you're in the way, or it's in the way, or, get out of my way. But I think it'll make a lot more sense maybe if you combine it with the other back of the shirt, the Mad Max crew here. But I don't know what it means yet. It's tough to figure out what that first one is. Is it an R? Is it a 1? Is it an O? And if it's an O, it could just be like, "Oi, Nissan as fuck." I don't know what the AF is. Afu? I'm not sure what that stands for yet. But
Well,
hopefully by the time my article makes it to print.
I was just going to say, it is Pi Day as we record this, and it came out, at least in the United States.
Is it a pay?
So it looks like PI, and then it could just be some of the digits we're seeing there. Yeah, who knows? We all know how much of a
Closely
fan.
looks like an R.
Yeah, it could be an R, it could be a P, it could be an O.
Yeah. Anyway, they're all like, "Oh, I don't want to die for this now. They don't even like me anymore. I thought at least I had some respect here." And as they try cutting down the ice oni, they're like, "If I survive this, I'm out. I don't need this. Even the pension, it doesn't make it worth it." And you see some random. This is the samurai on our side here saying, "Look, they're enemies, but their abusive system makes me sick to my stomach. And we have Queen, whose cigar is still somehow hanging from the bottom of his mouth, saying, hey, samurai, you might think that you're over there fighting for the good fight or whatever it is, but that raccoon dog is just a pirate just like us. You know, what is he going to do? Multiply the antibodies in a short amount of time? You're dreaming. That's impossible. I haven't read any of One Piece, so I have no idea what this guy could do. And look, if anything Queen, know about pirates, it's that they only care about themselves. So he's going to use the antibodies on himself, left you holding the bag. And someone, I think this is Drake saying that's just what you would do. And Queen explains that pirates stab each other in the back. That's our style. We've been doing it for thousands of years and we'll keep doing it. And everyone is still looking over at the sword over Hyogoro's head, hanging there for, let's say, millennia. And he says, don't rush at joining me in the grave. Hyogoro says to, his name is Yatape. And don't rush. Take your time catching up. And he's not rushing. He's slowly letting the sword down. And here comes Chopper, who just is kicking a stationary sword, I assume, as he says, wait. And what happens next here, Sam?
Oh, I wanted to mention that this page itself will probably be like the entire half of an episode of the anime.
Mhm.
Absolutely. There's a lot and a both nothing going on this page somehow
The
simultaneously.
first half of this chapter, yeah.
Is Chopper stopping like the sword with his hooves? Is he like clapping it?
He's very strong, yes.
I mean, again, the sword is
Chopper's
moving in
strong.
Dragon Ball time, so it's a lot slower.
Yeah. I do love how matter of fact that was, Ed. He is very strong.
I mean, he's
This sword is going to connect with your neck in 3 minutes.
That's an image I wish we could see clear, because that's an adorable thought of like Chopper stopping a sword with his hands or something, or whatever he's doing.
Zoro's been training him.
He just grasps it in the two hooves, you know?
Yeah.
Just
What's that sword technique where you clap with both hands? It's
called a suicide mission because that you can't really do that.
It's called the works or it doesn't.
Zoro called it no sword style. That's all I know.
That's true. Sam, what happens
So
next?
just with big sparkling moe eyes, Chopper's like, made it just in time with the little twing sound effect.
Twinkle.
Bravo, Steven, on the sound effect.
And the samurai are like, what, Mr. Raccoon Dog? And Hyogoro's like, ooh. Chopper says, this is going to heat up your body. It'll hurt a bit, but you're going to be fine. We're saved. We always knew you'd come through, Mr. Raccoon Dog. And then Chopper's calling for Miyagi, Tristan, hurry it up.
And Chopper puts a little Band-Aid on it that's like on his arm and says, and here's your Wowie Pop.
Chopper's whole business here.
Looks like Chopper's doing that doctrine thing.
Oh no! I'm gonna kill myself.
It all comes back to four kids.
use the suicide move there.
And Miyagi and Tristan arrive with a goddamn cannon.
Look at his
ready
face.
to go, Dr. Chopper.
Look at Miyagi. He's like, look at the lines under his eyes. He's crazy.
Here's our ultimate medical technique, a gun.
The ultimate medical gear.
A cannon? Fire! Chopper phage nebulizer.
Nebulizer.
If you have asthma, that's what you use.
No. It's a fucking nuclealizer. Look at that. It's a mushroom cloud.
It's a mushroom cloud with Chopper's like cute little face on it.
Steven mentioned
Chopper,
that
you haven't
this.
set the whore.
Steve mentioned that this is like word for word Oda here. This whole thing.
And so the nebulizer is something that they commonly use in Japanese ENTs. I've used them a number of times for just regular visits and stuff. But I don't know. It's just kind of cute that like it's called in Japanese, the Choppa Faji nebulizer. And the phage is fuzzy. It sounds like fuzzy. So it looks like kind of like to me the Muppet Fozzie. So I'm just going to call this headcanon the Chopper Fozzie nebulizer.
I thought you said fudgy, and I love that.
Waka
It could also be
waka.
fudge.
It's chocolate.
I was going to call it an Amiodake mushroom cloud.
That would be
Maybe- oh, no, wait.
Caesar-esque.
That's awful.
I love
Wow.
how Oda handles though this all this medical stuff. He's like, yes, I want to cure a nation, or I want to cure this evil
Big group
virus,
of
this
people.
thing. How do I do it? I use a friggin' cannon.
Yeah.
Bomb of medicine.
I mean, it's a pirate
Well,
manga.
I want to briefly cut in, and I know, Greg, we mentioned I don't remember how many weeks ago, but like the stuff with the holding off the party for after COVID's done in the manga. This is like some of the most prescient reading. I feel like it's very obvious on its face here. I mean, we'll get a lot more into that on the next page too, but like the stuff with what we're going through right now. The problem is, I think a lot more people would be less vaccine resistant if you could just get shot with a cannon. I think that would solve a lot of the issues we're going through.
I don't know.
I think people would
I don't know about
resist
that.
being shot with a cannon.
Yeah,
I don't know. That doesn't sound like people I know.
I'm fine with it, but
Yeah, I mean,
On that
sounds
train of
fun.
thought,
Maybe they'll they'll crop dust us with the vaccination.
That's what they should do. Yeah.
Like fart it?
Everyone stand outside.
we're getting closer and closer to Chopper being the doctor who can cure anything, and it's kind of cool that we're seeing these really kind of dramatic examples of that feel like they feel akin to like the cherry blossoms on Drum Island a little bit with just like a bit
Yeah.
like they're cannons. They shoot something out, big bursting cloud. Like I feel like
Certainly.
we,
Look, we're in a
we
shonen
might
manga.
see-
Medicine. Yeah.
We might see more of that as like Chopper invents new medicines and stuff.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the ice Onis are being kind of affected by it, and Queen's like, "What do you think you're doing, raccoon dog?" And we turn the
Alex,
page.
what's next? Yeah.
Quinn continues, there are thousands upon thousands of warriors on this floor. It'd be impossible to inject them all one by one. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, that's Chopper talking. I don't care, Chopper has that voice now. So I use these antibodies as a base to create my own virus.
Samurai voice.
Yeah, yeah, that's Chopper's. I'm a badass, cool doctor now. So
Can you do a really high pitched Sam Elliott? I guess that's the question.
I can stop a bad virus with a good virus instead.
Tough.
So
tough.
I'm just gonna read it. I can stop a bad virus with a good virus instead. Hey, that'll work. And using this method, I can give everyone the medicine they need in the form of a mist. Hey, just like an ambulance.
To be fair, unlike the mist, except for the mist, a vaccine is basically using a quote unquote good virus, a dead virus, or whatever
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Chopper cured COVID. It's very cool.
Good for Chopper.
Thanks, Chop.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chopper.
So as he's talking, we see everybody who's turning into an ice oni is now turning back into a regular human with potentially no side effects whatsoever. So everybody's pretty.
They just have to come back in a month for the second dose.
That's right. Everybody's pretty happy. Yakuza and Pleasure and Gifter alike, or rather Gifter and Waiter alike. And Queen says, where did the ship doctor from a crew out of nowhere get this kind of expertise? And Chopper reveals to him what we all knew. We split up and went all over the world to train for this. And Queen continues, why would you bother to cure my guys of the Ice Oni? And Chopper, with a doom, says, viruses aren't meant to be used as weapons. They'll always slip out of your control in the end. Dun-dun-dun. And Queen's had enough of this. He says, I don't need to take lessons in ethics from a stupid raccoon dog. Who do you think I am? And he's firing guns out of his mouth because that's the thing he does. And the Pleasures have now come to Chopper's aid, saying, look out, Mr. Raccoon Dog, as they get shot instead of Chopper, basically acting as human shields. And they appear to be having fun, but in fact they're in pain because they're the Pleasures. Queen is stymied by this, as the Pleasures are laughing and bleeding and writhing with the pain. And Queen says, what are you people doing? Get out of the way, idiots. And the Pleasures, they're not going to take it anymore. Shut up, Queen. You nearly killed our brothers with this stunt. The raccoon dog saved our lives. We're not going to sit still and get murdered by an insane boss. We'd rather die on the side of the guy who saved our lives. Ain't that right, boys? And, they could be smiling in actuality at this time. We'll never know, though, because such is the life of a pleasure.
Steve.
Now on the next page, we get a big group. Yeah.
Trying to think of what
someone
this.
says-
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I'm trying to think what this like composition reminds me of with like the crowd in the background.
It's clearly the end of Mulan when she looks out on the crowd and they all start bowing. So
It's like he's green screened in
everyone
there.
So then, when Chopper goes back to the drum or the Cherry Blossom Kingdom, Kreha is just gonna hug him and says, "It is an honor to have you as a son."
You went. You owned that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steve, yeah.
I agree, says someone. And someone yells, "Thanks, raccoon dog!" And people are just like, "Die, Queen!" Queen's like, "Oh, these morons!" But then Marco coming in with a phoenix choke says, "Nice job, raccoon dog," and starts snagging Queen by his really long neck. And he says, "Now pop him, give him one."
Give him one for
Chopper
the Marco. I can't.
This is for one of the waiters that got turned into an ice oni. This is for another waiter that got turned into an ice oni. And this one is for me. And this one's also for a waiter that got turned into an ice oni. Chopper pops in a rumble ball and says, "Thanks, Marco. I've got one other thing to say." He says, "Rumble ball," and he turns into Monster Point Chopper and he yells, "I'm not a raccoon dog!" And he smacks Queen upside the face, as he coughs up blood, and everyone just puts their hands to their mouth. It's like, "Ooh, sorry." It's a very even the gifter who's still cracking up is like, "Oops."
This is the genuine guilt.
And Hyogoro is back to normal already. So
Yeah.
But the funniest one is obviously Drake. His teeny little human hand over his dinosaur face.
His snout.
It's a riot. And this had me cracking up out loud. First time I can remember doing that in quite a while. So this was a really good gag.
See, I only got spoiled on two things, and one of them I didn't believe was a spoiler, but I'll get to that later. One was just this panel. I'm like, what the hell does this have? Like, just the bottom, just the reaction.
See, I think he dropped the ball on this one. Chopper doesn't look as pissed as he should. Like I think by drawing the pupils, he really messed up. There's not enough focus. Like if you compare this to some of Oda's like great one-hit punch panels or spreads, this just doesn't do it for me. To have that sort of reaction, he should look a lot more pissed and a lot more monstrous, like he used to. Pre-skip Chopper monster. I like the idea. I don't like the execution, if that makes sense.
Well, we don't know how pissed he is. He's kind of setting the record straight.
He's pissed. The Japanese, like the line is like, "I'm not a." It's this equivalent of, "I'm not a friggin' tech." Yeah,
I'm not an effing Tanuki.
Yeah.
He's got like the veins in the word bubble.
Yeah.
That's how you know he's mad.
Yeah. It's true, actually, yeah.
I think that I love the I do love everybody's reaction. Marco in particular, because of all the hatching, looks like if Shigeru Mizuki drew him. That's the Gegege no Kitaro author.
Yep.
I think the selling point here are the reactions from everyone. Like, I think that's the real funny part. I mean, I do like the fact that two straw and someone mentioned this, I forgot who, but that two straw hats literally slap two of the main Kaido crew, and that is their big technique. Like just a complete slap across the face, and that's
Smack.
it. Smack. Greg, next page.
That's me. We're in the right brain tower inside the dome. and we've got Shinobu and Yamato, and along with Momonosuke running along, and he's just
Clinging.
like,
Yeah, he's still in Yamato's clothes, right?
Yep. And each floor of the castle has its open, spacious area above the roof. I hope it's not hurting you back there, Momonosuke. I am hurting. I feel disgusted with myself. And, could this be some Momonosuke development? Everyone thinks too highly of me. I'm so stupid and frivolous and weak and foolish. I hate myself. And Shino, no, Lord Momonosuke, you've been so brave, which is true. And then Yamato, huh? And we hear some rustling going on in there. Are we going for a pervy gag? No, but sort of. There's a snake in his bra. No, I am not brave.
Someone's poisoned the Yamato.
It's like a chest burster.
Oh my god.
Oh God.
Perfect.
Steve, draw that.
Sam.
Yamato, what? An eel? Which is oh my god, that's so perfect. Because it's the exact same reaction that Luffy had.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah.
Your dad's a dragon, dude.
Yes. Lord Momonosuke. So yeah, we don't know how many people on from Wano know that he can do that. I think that's something that we haven't really visited in a while.
Not many, yeah.
So yes, Momonosuke has gone through the transformation on purpose because of the shock. We know that to this point it's been because of emotional state changes, like usually shock or surprise, that has been his trigger for changing. But moving over, we'll go inside the guest parlor inside the castle. Which, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong. Were these folks on a ship last time? Or did I
No,
just
they
put them
were-
in that?
I
No,
imagine
they were in.
Yeah, I
They
imagine
were in the castle.
I'll
Okay,
double check
yeah,
for
they
you,
were.
but yeah, I think they were in the castle.
For whatever reason, I thought they were on some ship. Okay, so speaking of Kaido, I don't know what this guy sounds like, but speaking of Kaido, back in the days when the Navy had him held captive, which great callback, thank you, Oda.
Yes.
Vegapunk extracted Kaido's bloodline elements, his blood, his DNA, his genes, whatever, and used them to create an artificial devil fruit. The government demanded he give them the fruit, but he was never happy with the results and considered it a failure. He had it stored at Punk Hazard. Ever since then, I'm rather enjoying this monologue about what's going on elsewhere in the castle right now. You know, I really technically probably shouldn't know unless there's a Mary's there. Anyway,
And also, no one prompted me to say this. I can't stand awkward silences. So I just thought I'd talk about something.
this is a
Also,
really
I'm
weird
looking-
thing to be talking about.
Yeah, he's not even facing them.
I'm also
By
looking
the-
forward to the confrontation between Kaido and Liquid Kaido, aka Momonosuke, where he says, "I got all your recessive genes."
By the way, Greg, CP0 last showed up in chapter 1003, and they were definitely, they don't say where they were, but they were definitely in the castle.
Okay, all right. For some reason, I had them on like a ship located off the coast or something.
Well, to be
Whatever.
fair, the entire island is floating right now, so the ship
Right.
part might be difficult.
Okay, so they're there. They're not falling along or anything. That's good to know. All right. Why are you bringing that up now? Punk Hazard was demolished. Why are you bringing that up now? Punk Hazard was demolished in that explosion. Well, let's hope the fruit got blown up when that happened, and not somewhere in this castle that's just over on the next page. But according to G5 report, one of those labs there was still functioning at the time. I was just thinking to myself, thank goodness it was only a failure. Oh, wow. That's really, really good timing thinking about this. Nero.
and who was responsible for that explosion?
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing he did put together there. I want to say this conversation with CP0 is exactly that sitcom thing where the television channel is turned to the exact right thing you need to hear at the exact right time. Yeah, Ed, finish us up here. I'm sure nothing surprising happens on this next page.
Well, we go back to the treasure repository behind the tower. It's a very fancy looking little garden leading up to the fancy looking door. But on the inside, it's sort of dark, and the Akazaya samurai are wondering who tended.
Still fancy though, Ed. Still fancy.
Yeah. who tended to us, and they don't know. And Kawamatsu's like, I feel as though I saw, but it must have been a dream because it couldn't possibly be true. And Kinemon says Sir Luffy's group is engaging with Kaido for now. The battle still rages all over the island. We must go. There is still life left in us to spend. But at that moment, the door slams open and a voice says, just look at you. You've gone through hell. And on the next page we get, I've missed you. You're so much older now. It's Kosuke Oden, and everyone is floored. They're like, Lord Oden?
And we are off next week. But we'll be back on March 28th. And I will end discussion for 2 weeks.
Bye-bye.
We shall not ever talk about this. No. Yeah, so that's going to be the chapter. So we should probably discuss this last page first. Is it okay, Greg, if I just throw this on you to begin with here? Because what's happening?
All right, sure. Well, do you mind if I go in order just so I get my mind? Because I'm all over
Yeah,
the place, so.
get your mind cleared out.
All right,
Yeah, let's talk about these penguins of Madagascar.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
Just about the chopper thing. So my initial reaction on Twitter has got some people upset. They're like, "Oh, you didn't like the chopper?" And no, I liked the chopper stuff. I just expected it. Like a lot of this chapter, in fact. The Hyogoro stuff felt dragged out last chapter. So to have that continue in this chapter, and honestly, the villain monologue doesn't help. I know what it's there. I know what its purpose is. It makes sense, but it feels like something that has to occur. And when there's so much going on right now that's exciting, it's just like, all right, okay, I'm reading a thing and it's occurring. I'm happy that Chopper fans have Chopper doing, again, for lack of a better term, his doctoring thing. Using the cannons is great. That's a great, I don't know if it's a callback per se, but like I do like the pirate inspired theme there. But it felt like going through the motions. And then to cap it off, like Chopper has looked scary in Monster Point, and it has always bugged me that post time skip, Oda kind of nerfed how frightening he actually looks, because it was like the one thing that wasn't cute about him anymore, and I really enjoyed that. So I don't know. I love the gags. The reactions is great, but I don't think it's earned by how he looks in the above panel. So that just kind of bugged me, but I don't dislike it. But okay, enough about what I didn't like about the chapter. Well, not didn't like, what I felt the chapter needed to do. What surprised me, even seeing this shadow in the bottom left panel when I was reading that page, I was just like, oh, it's definitely not Oden. It's just like they're just imagining something or whatever. And then looking over to the next page, oh my God, are you kidding me? The reason this hit me so strongly is because Oda can't fake this. He can't make it a gag. He doesn't get to go he doesn't get to leave a chapter like this on a break and then come to the next chapter and then have it be like, it's actually Bon Clay. Because he's talking like him, he's speaking like him. What this means to them as characters is important. There's a lot, I guess, thematically as a storyteller that you would lose from the readers. You would lose a lot of the trust of the readers, let alone your characters, if this just ended up being a gag. So immediately my first thought was, this is Oden. And the first thing I did was text Oda. I was just like, I don't normally message you my thoughts on chapters, but this is amazing. I don't know what you've done, but this is incredible. And he just wrote back like, LOL, thanks.
Who's this?
New phone, who's this? Yeah.
And then I went to I went to Steven. I was just like, Steven, what? How? And I was like, how is he alive? And he's like, well, is he alive? And for quite a while, for a few days, I was of the opinion that he is indeed alive. And I thought, it took me about 10 minutes to come up with how he could be alive. And the idea is that I always mix the two of them up. Higurashi and Semi, or Semi-Maru, whatever it is. The Kurozumi elderly, I don't know if there are a couple, but the two of them. Mm-hmm. One has the barrier fruit and the other had the bone clay fruit. And the timing of the boiling in oil was such that it occurred after Kaido said that he killed the elderly female. So
Right.
my guess is that it could, if he's indeed alive, and he does not appear to have any visible scratches on him, it could simply be that the who we assume is still alive, the Biwa player, used his barrier fruit on him and saved him. And then the immediate question is, well, then what about the gunshot? It's One Piece. It's a side view. It's unclear. Is one thing. There's no straight line through his head or anything. Did it graze him? Did it shoot him? We don't know. Did it hit him? We don't know. Did he even, if it was the barrier, did he even have to use the barrier on his upper body? He may not have. So it could have been that the bullet simply grazed him. And then he barriered his full body. That's really the only explanation that I can see if he is indeed alive, because the bottom half of his body looks fine. You would expect that to be at least showing some damage.
Well,
and yeah, go ahead.
I did think it was interesting that, because normally Oden wears his kimono pretty short. He's like pretty proud of his legs, I think. But
Yeah.
his legs are mostly covered here, so like maybe secretly they're all like burned up or something. But
Very true.
Are we allowed to ask you questions about this, Greg?
I have more that I can go on. I'd actually like to counterpoint myself, but go ahead, please.
Okay, first question. Why?
Why? Yeah.
Real question. So you're saying
Steve doesn't like any
Higurashi.
sort of theories about
Yes.
Oden.
no, I'm here to make everyone feel bad. No, but with Higurashi, right? That's the old lady.
yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Who I was pleased to see that she actually met Golden Lion Shiki.
Yeah, the anime confirmed that, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she was Odin's double in the pot of oil. That's what
No.
you're insinuating, right?
No.
Nope.
Oh, okay. I was getting confused. I got led astray for a second there because I thought like, oh, she stood in the oil instead. I'm like, why?
Yeah, no,
But maybe the Biwa player, like out of love of Higurashi, like saved Oden or something.
Yeah, or just out of spite, because he's
Or
a
out of
nasty
spite.
dude. We know he's a nasty dude, so he could have spited him by covering him up there. I don't know how solid that is in terms of motivations. It certainly seems to fit because Kaido killed the lady, so he could certainly want vengeance. Does that overcome his desire to see Orochi placed in power? I don't know about that, but if Oden is indeed alive, that's really the only explanation I could see. But to quickly counterpoint myself on this, it would be poor on Oda's part if there wasn't some sort of visual cue that somewhat damaged him, particularly the gunshot. Because whether it hit him or whether it grazed him, there was some sort of connection there. So there should be some sort of mark on his head that indicates that it did hit. You've got the legs, as Sam mentioned, possibly the rest of the legs are scarred, and the head together that are perfectly clean. So yeah, I don't know if necessarily he is alive.
I this is, I don't know if this is a question, but this is like a personal question, I guess, Greg, related to this, is that if Oden, even if it's well explained here, doesn't it rob some of like at least the literary kind of punch that comes with Oden's death 30 or 40 chapters ago, whenever it happened? Doesn't it kind of rob us as readers of what is really an impactful moment in his death for not just us but for also the spectators around?
Great question. Yeah. That's one that Oda has to, if he's alive, assuming he's alive. And I'm of the opinion currently, actually, now that he is not. But let's say that he is alive. That is one that Oda could answer by telling us how much he either had to suffer or what he had to go through in the transition from that moment to this time.
You know, I'm opening up the possibility that, he's a ghost because Fire Festival and all.
Yes.
But normally the dead wear their kimono differently, right? The right side over the left side.
You cover the left side because it's like evil, right?
I think.
Sorry, lefties. That's Buddhism for you.
Yeah.
Buddhists
Yeah,
are
so
anti-lefty.
That's.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know the wherewithal or the why, but I do know that the proper way to wear your kimono or yukata is left over right, because other way is that's how the dead wear.
But Odin is never one to follow rules.
Well, I guess we have to see Toki then and see how she wears her kimono. Right?
Well, who I'm sure we will see because she's very much alive or a ghost.
Oh,
Yeah, so that is the other part of this, which is if he is alive, then it would seem that however he survived the ordeal in the oil, he was sent forward in time, possibly along with Toki whenever she went. And was that something that he wrote about in that letter that she tore up? Because remember, there was that letter like, if I should die or like if I should be in danger, then, and she tore up the letter. So is this all part of that? Could be, very well could be. But I think the reason that I believe that he's probably a ghost is largely because of, well, you've kind of got the ethereal smoke beneath him.
Yes.
There's that. And that brings up the question, well, then is it, what's her name? Devon. This goes back to the joke, like making him like Mr. Bonclay. Now, she wouldn't be a joke. She'd be a different kind of answer, but it would have, I see her as the only other possibility. But that's going to be, it can't be comedy. It can only be betrayal, if that succinctly makes that point.
but then that would mean that Katarina Devon, or Devon, she would have had to have been on Wano 20-something years ago and know and not only have met Odin, but understand the dynamic he has with Nakazaya 9. That is ass pull.
And not only that, she would also have to have had the fruit ability back then too, which we don't know if that was a thing or not. So there's a lot of things to clear, or a lot of hurdles to clear, but I don't know if it's ass pull quite just yet, because we don't know what crew she was a part of. She could have been, on one of the lower crews of the Whitebeard Pirates, or even Roger at this point.
Oh yeah, because Odin was adventuring for like several years.
Yes,
I think if that were the case, I think we would have seen her in the flashback. I think that's
Maybe we did.
If we did, I think it would have made this far too easy to read. Because let's be honest, we are professional analysts of this.
Well, there's one wrinkle. There's
come on, guys. After a decade, you get to say it.
No, there is one wrinkle.
Not till I get my membership card.
Okay, I'll send that over.
So I'm looking at the end of chapter 1004 right now, where you see the shadowy figure tending to the wounds, and now I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's got to be Toki in some way, shape, or form.
Before we get to the Toki discussion, Greg, would Katarina Devon, since Blackbeard was on Whitebeard's crew and thereby on the same crew as Odin, is it possible that Katarina Devon was on level 6, right? At that time even?
Yes.
Or when they rescued her? Yeah. So it's odd. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Alex.
So regarding anybody who it could be, Devon, Bonclay, even Kanjuro, Kanjuro making an illusion of Odin, that still begs the question, then why heal them to begin with? The Bonclay thing is definitely, I don't think that's, I don't think that's credible. Devon, if that's the case, then why heal them? If it's Kanjuro, then why heal them? Unless he had a weird change of heart, which I don't think so.
Well,
he's very much painted as a villain, no pun intended.
Yeah, Sam, go first. Yeah.
I was just because also in that pantheon of characters we have Onimaru, who we don't know what the extent of his like shape shifting is.
So Onimaru, that's an interesting one.
Like that would make sense, but that's kind of in the territory of like that's less exciting than
how did he get on Onigashi?
What we're seeing right now.
Well, how did
Mika snuck on? Could have.
That's the least of the issue. But I was gonna say though, and Greg, sorry to interrupt, but
no,
isn't it pretty likely, if not sure, that Odin, let's say this is Odin, let's say he's back to life. Let's say he's walking through the door here. This is probably a different person than the one tending the wounds in that other chapter, who was much smaller, did not carry the same silhouette. So, provided they are not a shapeshifter, which is possible, they seem to be two different characters here. One just Oden or whoever this is coming in, and Toki or Hiyori or whoever that is tending the wounds.
Yes, depending on who that individual is, sort of makes or breaks who this could be. It's difficult for me to put this in words, and it's tough for me to like hold on to the thought because it's a lot of iterations going on. But basically, if that was Hiyori, let's just say it was Hiyori, this could be anybody. This could be anything. Even the Devon theory works, just because they're unrelated. If they are related and they were both there for a reason, like let's say that was Toki and this is Oden for some reason, well then it doesn't make a lot of sense for it to be Devon in that case. So you can go back and forth with those ideas, but this is just kind of my final point on this.
I don't understand like Devon getting involved with Akazaya at all. It's
just one possibility of the many. But here's why I don't think it is, and why I think this is just a regular. It's a regular old ghost. It is. So
you can see his feet though.
Dramatically speaking, there is so much potential if it's possible for Oda to pull in the idea of the spirits returning. You have so many people from the past, from this story that have been introduced that have died. Think about Yasue. He would get a chance to have a final farewell with his daughter. Ghosts. Yeah, essentially, yes. So, and Oda gets to kind of
is Odin going to pull like a Jor-El thing? He's just going to. It's like I'm here to guide you.
It is
in the fortress of Onigashima.
Oh boy.
And what he can do here is give this arc an extraordinarily satisfying wrap up. If he's able to make all of those characters from the past reappear, including setting up his end game, which would be that for years now I've had that kind of quote, for lack of a better term, life stream idea that runs through the planet, which is the voice, the million voices, 1,000 voices, whatever it is, the voice of all things, and that gives us a chance to have Ace, to have all of our characters' heroes return at some point. Well, quote unquote return. But why? Okay, why does supernatural work in One Piece? In 1998, in the Comicers magazine interview, Oda said that my characters won't fly. He is since largely not broken, but bent that rule. And he also said there will not be any supernatural elements. Well, we have a person a person in the main crew who has confirmed that there is an afterlife. There is an afterlife. He is we have seen him as a spirit. We have seen spirits. Spirits do exist. They just, in a lot of cases, they have not had forms. And because of this festival, since it is such a special event, it could be a reason to give those spirits, those life forces that are still on the planet, form.
And since we're over
I like that idea.
Since we're over the flower capital, literally here, since we saw Mount Fuji last chapter, I think.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about a festival is it doesn't even need to be like in the same spot. It's just it's something for the dead. So the dead are literally being possibly guided back there.
That's like Obon,
who
right?
knows?
That's what this
is. It's similar to Obon. Yeah, the little Toro Nagashi. That's one of Zoro's attacks too, but that's a different story. Anyway, so that's because of the dramatic potential that exists here for not only this arc but in the future. That's why I strongly believe that this figure here is probably supernatural, and also because I'm just so I'm married to the idea of Kinemon kind of being like the stand-in shogun until Momonosuke reaches age. I really like that idea instead of Oden kind of taking over. Yeah, that's okay. All through it. I'm done.
So I have a question, actually.
Go ahead.
Anyone tell, based on the hilts, which swords those are? upon
Yeah, I was
his hit.
gonna.
Those are
question.
circular
Yeah.
swords. The circular hilts. That's not either of his swords.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I would think that'd be more evidence of being a ghost if it appeared with the swords that were his in life.
Or-
But if those
Honestly,
are
the one
swords-
looks like Wado Ichimonji because that.
It does.
Yeah.
Well,
Or-
when
or
you're a
it-
ghost, they give you, your
New swords.
honorary
yes, of
swords. Yeah,
course.
they give you your
Yeah,
ghost
yeah,
swords.
Ghost swords are my favorite swords. No, I mean, it could also lend credence to the imposter thing. There's a lot to dive into there, even with just what Greg said. Who wants to take this up next? 'Cause
I
know
do.
there's- Sam spoke first, so that's how we play the game here. Sam, you get to go first.
Okay, Chopper, cute.
Yes,
That's all I'll have to say.
You know what? I can confirm that he is.
No, Chopper is cute.
Well, I guess that's
Shut up,
I'm-
you face.
Shut up,
I'm being
you're-
swayed on the ghost idea. I definitely think that would be. I think Steven in the chat earlier today was bringing up like the Klabautermann. Like there's something related to that. Like the Klabautermann is just like a supernatural. Like it's just a
Yeah.
spirit that is personified
Joey also, I think, was talking a lot about it with
in the Fire
Yokai
Festival and
yeah.
I think that's a pretty strong direction because you can have this like real family reunion with Odin and Momonosuke and Hiyori and Toki and everybody and
And Ace is there, and Whitebeard's there.
potentially actually because that didn't occur to me
They're-
until that got brought up just now.
Yeah,
Like Ace
they're
is very
connected
tied to
yeah.
Ace is very tied to this arc, but we haven't like gotten really a strong idea of what that's going to culminate in. So that would be like kind of wild.
Yeah.
And you can have this reunion, but also like it's a temporary thing. Like they will be gone again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But also the thought of this like being real, like this being a product of time travel. Like Toki had some master plan that's like we're now just seeing this whole time. Like that's so like big and loud and exciting and pulpy and weird. And like that's so much more interesting than if this was some kind of fake out. Like that to me is like the worst case scenario. If we get to the next chapter and it's like, oh, it was an imposter, it was this. It's because
Boo to that. Yeah.
yeah, because you're given this like big exciting thing, and then it's like, oh, actually, it's less exciting than we told you it was going to be. We just wanted to rile you up for 1 week of discussion. I hope that's not the case. Like, because this idea of like, I think One Piece is at its best when it's like challenging your expectations of what is possible within this story. And even if Odin was like alive permanently, I would kind of be okay with that because this is also an arc where this is the rare arc where we saw like a living character die. Like Yasu died in the present, and the rule that characters can die in flashbacks is now being challenged because the dead flashback character might be back.
No,
Like,
Pedro
that's like
died.
twisting.
Pedro died last arc, but it's also like I perceive that as being Carrot being a new Straw Hat character. So we're going through her flashback in real time as her
Kinda.
her mentor dies.
I mean, I think Pedro's dead, but like Pedro's also like very specifically like way more ambiguous. Like Yasu, there's almost no question.
Well,
Yeah,
the nice thing about that theory, of course, is that like somehow if we because of the Fire Festival and we get to say goodbye to the dead, if we get to see Yasuye reunite with Toko and and Oden and Toki, if they are indeed both dead, get to reunite with Hiyori and Momonosuke. I guess we'll get to see perhaps Pedro come back to say goodbye to Carrot and Wanda and them as well.
Oh,
And
that would be
Ace with-
interesting.
Yeah.
And Ace with Luffy and Whitebeard with Marco.
And then Saba will show up and Luffy's like, "Wait, Saba, you're not dead."
Oh no!
no, but
and he Star Trek transports away.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Vivi shows up and Shirahoshi and
well, no, I was gonna say. I think there are not a lot, to be fair, but every major deceased character in One Piece has, besides those in the flashbacks, except for this flashback, do have some sort of connection to Wano and the characters that are here. And that is certainly a unique situation, and it may be even a planned situation on Oda's part. So I agree with Sam that challenging our expectations there. That's certainly doing that.
My gut says that if it's a ghost thing, then like it would probably be limited to people who died on Wano. But if something like Ace is on the table, then obviously everyone's on the table.
Well,
Plus,
Ace has a connection
is
to Wano
corny-
as well.
Yes, he does.
Is-
Yeah.
And this arc.
As corny as that sounds, I kind of want to see
Yeah.
it.
Like so
Yeah.
the kind of bar for quote unquote corny, right? Like if you wanted to, you could say that the Klabautermon and the Mary talking and stuff is quote unquote corny, but we love it. Like
Yes.
we like it gets right to our hearts. So like I'm willing to like give the story that chance, you know?
Well, look, we've had spirits and souls, as Greg said. We had not just the stuff with Brooke and the Klabauter Man, but also Big Mom's whole power is soul related and taking
Right.
out people's souls.
Are souls and
there's-
ghosts the same
Yeah,
thing?
could she control the ghosts?
That's
Use their
true.
power on the ghosts.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting. Or wait, maybe Brooke's powers actually are more expansive than they seem,
How about the
because
ghosts
you
with
know
music?
exactly. Who
I'm
knows?
not
Just to
gonna-
clarify.
I was gonna say I'm not going to hedge my bets on Brooke anymore. If something happens, I'll be stoked, but I'm not.
yeah.
I'm through with expecting Oda to do something amazing.
Yeah, we have been. That's Lucy and the football there over and over again
Yeah.
with Brooke. Greg, what were you going to
Just-
say?
Yeah, just to clarify on one of my thoughts for this is I don't necessarily see everyone's hero showing up at this fire festival being part of the story, but I see this as being something that sets up an extraordinarily
possibility.
a dramatic finale to the series.
Right.
Yeah,
see.
at
I see.
that point. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're tipping our toe into the ghost afterlife, whatever
Yes.
the rules are there, and then maybe there's something like much bigger for the final arc.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I could see that.
mean, if we're talking about not just this world but the next, that really adds a lot of potential to the story.
And
as scary as it might seem, tipping our toes into something that's supernatural.
And
Yeah,
and
go
after
ahead.
weeks of like debating like Toki, like is Toki alive? Is there something going on with time travel? Yada yada. Like this is such a delightful swerve. And like there's nothing I would love more than if there's like a real explanation for this that was clearly planned out ahead of time that we can only see in retrospect. Like that would like that's the kind of twist I want out of Oda.
I'm good either way.
Yeah. It's possible both Steve and I are right. That could be Toki, and Toki could also be dead.
A ghost is not alive.
Yeah, see that because
No,
I'm
but-
thinking like about Jill's bet with Roger. Like if Toki's a ghost, I think Jill wins. But if she's
No,
like
but-
alive
but
here
the-
because of time travel, I think Roger wins.
No. But the bet, I don't know specifically the bet with Roger, but the argument I know Steve and I specifically were having
yeah.
was whether or not that was Toki at the end of chapter. Was that 1005, 4? And that
I
couldn't have been
swear
Toki because Toki was dead.
Is Toki alive? And I'm like, no, she isn't.
Well,
I think my opinion
there's
was
there's
Toki
like three
could
different
be
arguments
alive,
happening here. So
Yeah.
I think Jill and Roger's thing was whether that woman in the silhouette was Toki.
Yes,
And we on the
I'm
podcast
sorry,
debate in general if she's alive. I think she's alive. I wasn't convinced that she's the silhouette woman. I think I was saying she's alive. If she turns out to
I'm
be a
the
ghost,
reverse
I will
of-
count that as me being wrong. But,
I just thought that was definitely Toki. I didn't really think about the idea of spirits existing, but this is a whole other topic of conversation. Donnie, what were your thoughts on this chapter?
Spirit is not alive.
Donnie, what were your thoughts
take
on the
from
chapter?
Steve.
And then I'll fight with Steve. Yeah.
I overall enjoyed it. I rereading it here, I didn't kind of register how slow the beginning really was. I forgot about the last chapter with the Hyogoro, like how long that takes for them to, kill him or attempt to kill him. But I always like Chopper having moments to reinforce that he's a good doctor and what his morals are. I thought the gag was hilarious. On this final panel, originally when I first read it, I thought it was like instantly, I was like, oh, it's Kanjuro, some sort of plan, maybe not a gag, but something, maybe him coming back. But the more we've talked, I do absolutely love the idea that this is tied to the Fire Festival. I completely forgot about that. And the idea of the spirits of Wano coming back this night, but coming back to help free them from the 20 years of being oppressed by Kaido and everything, that itself just thematically, narratively, like, even the dead are rising up to free them and open the country with this spirit, and that whole more prophecy of in 20 years they'll come and free the country kind of holds more weight. So I'm full in on Ghost Odin. He's a Force ghost. I'm convinced. Yeah, I don't think I had other thoughts. I liked Queen's speech just because I think Queen actually, as a subordinate villain, is pretty interesting, especially on the scale of how a lot of them, not really counting Whole Cake that much, but post-time skip, a lot of the subordinate villains, thinking of Dressrosa a lot, have felt pretty paper thin or just
like King.
Not too
What do we know about
interesting.
King, really?
Yeah, but Queen's got like this whole personality. So even though, like, I agree with Greg, it's very much like, oh yeah, we expect this speech, this has to happen, and it's very typical. I like that it's coming from Queen, it fits, and I did like the zoom in on his face and having him be almost a counter to Chopper in their beliefs, which I wouldn't have expected, I thought was neat. So, I don't know, I overall enjoyed it, but again, the last panel, I think, is the most important part of it.
Maybe, Greg, with the Chopper Queen fight, maybe Oda's saving up, like, maybe that fight continues and, like, Chopper really goes crazy, you know, later on.
It could happen. I'm not particularly expecting it, but I think Donnie makes a fantastic point about how it helps us learn more about Queen. My issue was that I felt he made a lot of those points previously when he was saying, you know, when he first gave out the virus, and he was just like, yeah, if you die, then I guess you die. You better get that vaccination. I felt a lot of that. So, like, I think it's important. I think it would have been even better if it was, let's say, because you guys are just saying, like, King, right? What the hell do we know about King other than that, you know, he seems to be if it's a he, seems to be some sort of, like, special race.
He's got wings.
And he's got that fire thing on his back that's constantly going.
Looks cool.
It would have been cooler if we saw now King give that speech. But it can't be thematically because it's the scientist versus the doctor here. So it's Oda in a rock and a hard place, which is why I kind of say it's something that needed to happen. But it's not bad by any means.
Yeah. Alex, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Start to finish. Yeah, I managed to stay unspoiled throughout the week, which is great. Earlier on, we were getting some news reports that scans are out. Chapter is going to leak early. Something big is happening. Stay off Twitter. Yada yada. I managed to do that, so I decided today to record a live reaction of me reading the chapter, because I'm like, oh, if this is going to be something, monumental, I might as well record my reaction and check it out, just for as an experiment. I wasn't reading it aloud, of course. I was reading it silently because that's how I read a chapter first time, as I'm sure we all do. And as I read the first chunk of this, it became more apparent that, oh, I see, the really monumental stuff isn't coming towards the end. Greg mentioned this before, but Hyogoro wanting to die, we got enough of last chapter, and we got it to a very nice degree. But this kept happening. Like, this was, the Yatape hesitating seemed to take up a huge chunk of it. Queen's speech, I thought, was he did retread a few things, but at the same time, I think that when it comes to subordinates like this, they really need to get their ears wrung and hear it a couple times in order to fully understand what's happening to them. Chopper getting to show his skills is amazing. The cannon I thought was really great. I didn't realize the drum parallel until Joey brought it up on Twitter. Really cool stuff there. Chopper's great. Chopper's good. I'm forever a fan, of course, as per usual. And I was actually getting really sick of him not doing anything the last couple arcs in regards to his doctor ability, discounting Zoe, of course. So it's nice that he had this time to shine, and at the same time, managed to gain some allies for our team. I like how Marco is basically an assist trophy, continues to be an assist trophy. So the stuff with Momonosuke's fruit is kind of interesting. We know that it's the only one of its kind. I think it's interesting the line about Vegapunk extracting Kaido's bloodline elements, aka his DNA, according to Steven. And that leads me to believe that at some point down the line, or not just down the line, but it maybe is a clue as to what the Navy's secret special science thing that's going to replace the Seven Warlord system is. Like, maybe some people in the Navy donated their blood in order to give their power a little bit. And I guess it sort of makes a case for why the pacifistas also have the same kind of laser beams, that Kizaru has. So I thought that was a really cool little peek into how that sort of works.
It's a throwaway line that we'll come back to, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Throwaway scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. Obviously, we talked about how coincidental it was that we see Momonosuke's eel form on the page leading up to this conversation. But it's nice to have CP0 there in order to have some minor exposition that will be undoubtedly important one day. Toki, Oden, all the stuff. Yeah, the cool thing about a reveal like this is that there is a lot of speculation, and that's part of the fun of One Piece. This is something that we're going to think about for the next 2 weeks until we get the next chapter, and I'm sure we're going to phase to what Zoro's doing or something, and we're not going to get a full answer on this Oden thing for a little bit. At least that's my read on it. As for what he is, I'm not, like, that's the thing. I think that at this point in the story, we've experienced stuff in one, like, we're always learning new things in One Piece, and I think that whatever Oden is something that that hasn't been fully explained to us yet. But it's probably got to do with Wano, probably got to do with the thematics of the Fire Festival. I'm with everybody in this whole the theme of it all, getting to see past loved ones getting some closure there, and I do wonder this Oden, or what is he going to will Kaido see him and look like he's seen a ghost, or will the six-headed Orochi see him and crap 8 of his pants, or 6 of his pants. I don't know how many heads he's supposed to have at this point.
Well, Orochi's dead.
7, I think.
Yes,
he could be a ghost.
Thank you. And or will this Oden give the Akazaya 9 a much needed extra boost of adrenaline and guts? Who knows? But I do think that, like, Toki and Oden are here in some form or another, the two of them specifically, whether it be time travel, ghost shenanigans, or whatever. I really love this development. And I do wonder, is this the same kimono that Oden had when he was holding up the Akazaya 9 in the boiling pot?
I'm sorry. Ever since you said guts, I can't get the Nickelodeon Guts theme out of my head.
So when he was in the boiling
It's gonna
pot,
help the Akazaya 9 get the Astro Crag.
Aggro Crag.
The radical.
now
crowd.
who's being corrected, Steve? So no, he was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tell me more about Nickelodeon shows.
So
Zach. I'll wait.
Yeah, I saw the Legends of the Hidden Temple set before it became a show. Anyway,
Whoa.
yeah, I got to visit.
Whoa.
I visited Universal Studios.
Brag.
Are you kidding? I was a huge.
Oh, wait,
Nickelodeon-
I saw Clarissa on set.
What?
What?
There was nothing there when I went. It was basically just like, oh yeah, here's where we film Double Dare, and then I got Doug's autograph.
I want
Me,
to.
Doug?
So yeah, he was not wearing the full kimono. He was shirtless and just had the bottom part on, all the way down though. All the way down. I do want to add, Steve, before I throw it to you. This is the important part that everyone has really been wondering about. So Roger's base said, Toki's definitely the one in the room with the scabbards. And Jill said, no. Roger said, I will make you a One Piece figure bet with you on this, Jill. LOL. And Jill said, name your terms. No way Oda is bringing a mom back to life. And that's
Ooh.
yeah. So
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
But-
So as the lawyer here, I would say that if that is Toki's ghost, that is still Toki, and therefore Roger would win. If it is not Toki's ghost, if it's not Toki at all, then that's that.
But going by what Jill said here, wouldn't bring a mom back to life. Is a ghost alive?
Yes, but the
I
terms
know.
were Toki's definitely the one in the room with the scabbards. Jill had the misunderstanding that
Well,
meant that she was
well,
alive.
that's just
Shit,
a comment.
we
That's just
literally have two
commentary. That's not-
lawyers here.
Yes.
This is amazing.
Well, so regardless of that, what if it's not Toki? What if it's Hiyori? Where was the last time we saw Hiyori, by the way?
Who cares?
Who cares? She knows Odin's
Oh,
songs.
wow, Zach! Way to twist the narrative in your
She
favor.
knows
Yes,
the
that's how
she
it
knows
works.
the
That's
she knows
I care.
she knows the song. She knows the Oden song.
That's
Like,
true. That's true. That's true.
Where's the last time we saw Hiyori? Somebody check.
So
End
the
of Act
last
2?
time, the last time we saw Hiyori, I think, was with the group at while they were training at the end of Act 2.
If that was Hiyori, this can be Kanjuro. This can be a fake out. Yes.
Yeah.
Man, I like all these alternative endings that are.
Yeah, there's a lot of ifs and buts.
This is a choose your own adventure of a chapter, huh?
It is a choose your own. So Steve, I want to, in all seriousness, what did you think of the chapter?
I really like this chapter, and in an ironic twist of fate, I was thinking this more as a Chopper chapter than all this like Odin stuff. That wasn't like that was surprising for sure, yeah, but that wasn't really like my takeaway from this chapter. I'm like, oh, good moment for chapter. Good morning for Chopper. Good morning, Chopper.
What?
Tony chapter.
Did Steve just have a stroke?
I think we just
Yes.
heard that.
We need to reboot Steve.
Good morning chapter is what I say every Sunday.
Same here.
Good morning, chapter. Go ahead.
Like, is this any new interesting development for Chopper? No, but is it super satisfying? You better believe it is.
Yep.
Of course, we know Chopper was going to find the cure to this, but after dragging ass with this Hyogoro thing for far too long, and honestly, that was like a huge turnoff for the beginning of this chapter. That gleeful look on Chopper's face filled me with so much joy. And then even like I said, the moment where he smacks Queen and corrects everybody, that was a really funny moment for me. And it was just cool. The characters I know and love just getting to do stuff. It doesn't have to be something new. It doesn't have to be something totally, like a change up of character at all. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be a whole lot of development. Just the characters getting to do something cool. And it's not just Zoro cutting a dude down or something like that. Or like Luffy punching someone. I like Chopper doing his doctoring thing.
I don't know, Steve. I think that scene would have been a lot better if it was Law.
What if Law came in with the cutesy face at the end of that scene? Like,
I was like, I'm a doctor. No.
he comes in, he's just like, made it just in time, sparkly. Patwing.
I'm imagining
That
Law
is pretty
eating a
funny.
rumble ball what that would do.
Steve,
I don't
Monster
like
Point
bread
Law.
or rumber.
Monster Point Law.
Loster Point Chopper.
Lost your
Lost
point.
your point.
Did you say Lobster Point?
I
Yes, he
wish.
turns into a lobster. So let's get into this whole Odin thing. Yeah, that did come as a shock. I am still very skeptic about these characters being alive, and we talked about this so much already. I'm trying to think if there's something else I can bring up that hasn't really been discussed yet. I feel like if you're thinking like, oh, is this Devin? I'm like, no, why? What? No, that's too much. That's too much. So Bon Clay. I'm like, why would Bon Clay leave his new paradise right now? Bon Clay will eventually leave Impel Down, and I think that's more of like an endgame kind of thing. That makes no sense. So I don't even think about stuff like that. I totally wasn't factoring in the whole fire festival and the spirits aspect. I didn't realize that at all, and that could be something very interesting. And I welcome that, partially because that means these characters are still dead. I say I'm just trying not to reach red here.
It's hard. There's a lot of us. And we're all.
Me at least shooting down Oden being alive. Since Zoe, the buildup has been for Momonosuke to rise up and take the throne and to become the next shogun. Why would you sideline that and just be like, oh no, it's okay, Odin's back alive? It's like, okay, you're Rodimus priming Momonosuke. That's not a verb, but look it up anyway.
No, yeah. I actually know that reference.
It's really like that makes no sense with the story that's
Right.
That's being told since 2016.
It's like when they made Gohan the main character of Dragon Ball.
Thank you. I forgot to, I wanted to say that like 30 mints ago. It would feel like Gohan coming back to defeat Boo, and then it's just like King Yama just decided that Oden gets a free pass because these villains are really tough to beat. And then Oden and Toki each put on a Potara earring, and then they become Token.
Yes.
Or Uki.
Uki. Wow, that's a scary.
Because I'm curious what's for the Akazaya 9 to do now, because they're clearly not going to be the ones to defeat Kaido. I think they're going to be tied in with a very still alive Orochi.
And Momonosuke.
That's a character I think is alive.
Hold on.
And Momonosuke.
Hold on. Why are we so sure Orochi's alive?
Wait, but now Orochi could be dead and come back as a spirit.
Ooh.
I hope if he comes back as a spirit, I want it to not have a head.
Or just
Ditto on that.
Or holding
Or
the
like
head.
a head on. Yeah, holding the head. Yeah, exactly.
I like this idea of spirits coming to play because even with Ace has been like a focal point of the Wano arc as well, despite not really not having stakes in this because he's dead. But a lot of characters, even besides Luffy, have a connection with him. So I could see going down this path, and that would be interesting. Not gonna lie, but I honestly I don't hope it's like I really hope it's not just like it was Kanjuro all along. I was just messing with you. But I'm leaning toward now. I'm starting to be leaning towards something spiritual, like Odin's Force Ghost sitting down with Momonosuke, and Momonosuke said like, "Hey, someone spoke of another," and then Odin's like, "Oh, that other is your young sister Hiyori," and Momonosuke saying, "I knew that already," and Odin's like, "Oh, I guess I really have nothing else to do. I'm going back to the spirit world. Bye bye."
Does that mean Momonosuke has to kiss Hiyori?
Wait, is Odin's full name Oden-Wan Kenobi? Is that what I had missed this entire time?
Great, I got a lot to catch up on here, so I'm gonna stop talking. But okay. No, I'll use this I'll be quick. I'll use this platform to talk about my skepticism on Toki being alive. she's a time traveling character who, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong. She was alive during the blank century. Am I wrong?
She is. I think she might even be. She may be from that time.
Yes.
Not just alive.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she's from that time.
She is too dangerous to be alive because just having a character that has an access to all that knowledge really breaks the story. And we
But
can
we don't
even
know
think
that
back
she
to
knows
Luffy.
everything about the blank century.
She might not know much.
Just let me. I'm not guaranteeing anything. Let's just talk hypothetically. She does know all this stuff. That is a game breaking character because, as Luffy established, he doesn't want to know the answers. He wants the journey for himself. And also, if we have Toki here to be like, all right, time for me to tell you all about that country who no one knows the name of and the blank century.
Well, there's a very easy.
Totally.
There's a very.
Let me get this out of here. That totally devalues Nico Robin. One of the most satisfying things about Robin's character is she's tracking down the poneglyphs so she could uncover this history. If you have a character that knows it, that really pisses on her goal.
Steve, do you consider Rayleigh to be a series-breaking character?
Rayleigh served the purpose of saying, "Here's a possibility," and saying, "No, we don't want it."
But there's kind of the implication that he might actually have the answer.
Sam,
I
I
choose
think
not to listen to it. And
Yeah,
they could have a scene with
but
Toki.
why do that story? But why do that again?
Did you
why
see
do that again?
Stampede,
Why dangle that
Steve?
carrot? It's not canon.
It's a bullet.
So I think, to be fair, like,
Why do Straw Hats have to keep leaving the crew only to
Sam!
learn again that they should join? Like, they got these patterns here.
No, I think what's even more likely, though, is that though Toki may
It's poetry.
know...
It rhymes.
Sam, stop talking for a second.
Oh,
To
wrong guy to quote here.
to address Steve's point, though, and like, look, this is not, one way or the other, we don't know the breadth or lack of Toki's knowledge, like what she knows, but it is possible from what we've heard from Toki that she does not know a lot, since all she knows is that her parents came from Wano, and it could have just be that she's been jumping forward through time
Right.
ever since then. Like, we don't know exactly the extent that she knows. So, and
She's probably
unlike
a little kid in the Void Century.
yeah, and unlike a lot of
Kids remember stuff.
that is not true.
She maybe tells us one interesting thing. Like, she doesn't
Yeah,
have to
well,
tell us the whole thing.
The thing is, at least Oda could get out of making her a game-breaking character. Like, she totally could be a game-breaking character, and maybe that's why she'll never show up. But she could also completely show up and not be a game-breaking. You see what I mean?
What
Could
if
be
she
either
shows
way.
up and she's alive, but then she dies in the present day story?
I would laugh. I would laugh so hard. I think it just comes back to what I was saying. Is it also? It's like Momonosuke's whole story is about him. Him taking the throne. Him leading Pride Rock here, and then it's like if Mufasa just came back, and it's like, oh hey, I got this.
But
We'll wait till you're 18.
See, I was interpreted like the Tsunachi thing as sort of foreshadowing that Momonosuke is actually going to not be Shogun. He's going to actually enjoy a life of actually getting to be a kid for once.
And also, you mentioned the Lion King. Maybe he'll be the cloud ghost of Mufasa, Odin here. So, it's even Force ghosts in the Lion King.
But I wasn't knocking the idea that Odin was not a spirit. I'm actually all for it.
Kimba. Ed, what are your thoughts on the chapter?
I don't have too much to add, but I do agree on the Toki or Odin being alive. It really does mess with some of the Straw Hat characters' ambitions, Robin in particular, like you were saying, Steve, and also with Momonosuke's development. I really want him to sort of come self-actualized and actually, be a person who's worthy of being Shogun by the end of this arc. And I mean, it looks like he was getting there. He was having this sort of personal crisis of having to stand up for something. So I think that's going to tie into whatever this Odin, I think, spirit or ghost ultimately is doing. Yeah, I gotta say, Oda did a pretty good job with giving us so much to talk about in the last quarter of this last quarter of this chapter that we sort of forget what the first half.
I think that was on purpose.
I would like to forget the first quarter of this chapter. To be completely honest.
I don't know. We were kind of annoyed with this last week, and it continues to go on. Like, here's a bunch of characters who are lamenting something, and I barely know their names. And let's just. Yeah, it's a sad story. I know Hyogoro. I have a connection with Hyogoro. I feel sorry for him. So that was kind of interesting. All the other, I wasn't necessarily invested in the other characters' feelings about Hyogoro.
Except for Drake.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
It feels this way because we have a character that we barely know anything about, and that character is being portrayed as weak in their inability to take an action because the story demands it. And that is unsatisfying to read. For myself, at least someone who's looking at it like a nerd, but
welcome to the club.
But it picked up after that. The gag with the bomb cure was on point, as was the I understood why they had to do Queen's speech that way. And it's sort of reiterating things we already know, and like cementing, like driving it in why Chopper has to, slap him silly on the next page, and to keep us from thinking too much about it, we end that whole scene off with a gag, which was very funny. So I don't know. I don't really have much else to add to the Oden discussion, but I would be very disappointed if he actually was alive. And based on the swords, that's my primary reasoning. I don't think he's alive.
Well, you got ghost swords. We did discuss that. That's just canon now. But yeah, I'll just throw in my 2 cents here. I agree with everything that's been said. I'm a little conflicted because I really did enjoy the Chopper story. I don't think it was executed perfectly. I think the problem is the first, let's say, 6-7 pages, I was waiting for the thing that does happen to happen, which I think Greg said very well. That being said, I think Chopper really shines in those middle pages in particular. I think the viruses not being used as weapons is a very good thing to be said. I know it is an obvious thing to be said, but we talk a lot on Fight Together about like real life things, and sometimes they come up, and unfortunately that is a thing that has come up in this world, and I think it's an important thing to be said. Don't use biological shit as weapons. It's not good. It's not good for so many reasons. Beyond the real clear ethical considerations that Queen literally shoots his tongue out at. I still think that is an important moment for Chopper, in the same way Sanji would yell, "Don't waste food," or Zoro would yell, "Where am I?" Or whatever those characters would hold so dear. The Momonosuke and CP0 stuff is interesting. We have been talking, and Greg, I know you've been on this podcast for many, 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 many years, over a decade. And when that Punk Hazard stuff happened with Momonosuke, we've been talking about the fact that is related to Kaido for like a decade, right?
Yep.
This is not new news. But I think that this is something telegraphed for readers, who might not be paying quite as close attention.
Who might not have been reading a comic for 10 years. Yes.
Who might not be, as Greg put it so well, nerds. So I think that is important, obviously, for those readers. But I'm super curious why it's coming up now. And why the Oden thing is coming up now. And I'm wondering if the Oden thing is also connected to all the stuff happening on the penultimate spread, in any way. I think maybe the main key is the Momonosuke stuff and what we talked about. And I do completely agree with Steve and Ed and everyone else that what a cop-out it would be if Oden just comes and is like, okay, I'll be Shogun now. That's just, then, oh, wait, I'll go defeat Kaido too. I could do that. I have superpowers. But like, you know, I am so conflicted personally about this ending because I forgot when, Greg, but maybe a year or two ago, you were having a whole discussion online about magic in One Piece and how that's not really a thing that happens in One Piece. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
And though I guess there are supernatural elements, as you know, as I brought up with Brooke and Big Mom and many, many, many more. At the same time, this is like another big step into the unknown, and I'm very curious about the execution. I will absolutely be disappointed if this is Kanjuro or Katarina Devon, or if he somehow survived the oil pit. Like I think Ken equated it to the Rick and Morty episode with the vat of acid, like just with, you know, it's not real acid.
That was a really good pull.
I think Katarina Devon would be the most disappointing one.
Yeah, well, no, I think somehow surviving the acid.
He doesn't even go here.
Exactly.
Bon Clay would be
Bon Clay would be the worst for me.
Yeah. Which I love Bon Clay, but it makes no sense why he.
I love Bon Clay. It makes zero sense.
Yeah.
Blackbeard wanting to infiltrate them and kill them goes back to the whole like Blackbeard thing, but still, it's unsatisfying.
Yeah,
it's too much. You're putting too much on your Sunday. Yes, what I'm saying.
I mean
some people treat this like it's like Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. It's like, oh, it's like everyone should show up, and I'm like, no. Well, we don't need more Fire Emblem characters.
To be fair, a lot of media is like that now. I mentioned Disney Plus, and I feel like that's a really good example. Like there are just things from disparate stories coming together is sometimes seen as, whoa, that's cool how that happened. And yeah, I get that, and I'm sure and not. You know, Marineford is an example of that, you know, where, you know, people from all sorts of different stories in the past come together in that moment. But this isn't one of those moments, I think, is pretty clear to say. Bon Clay suddenly showing up. Katarina Devon, even though there is that connection with Blackbeard and Whitebeard and Odin, I think is really pushing it. As I think Greg put that really well. I think specifically, I'll round off here, that Kinemon with the tear in his eye as the very last panel before we go on a 2-week break here is like that, you know, makes me feel that there needs to be some emotional catharsis that comes out of this. And if it's just Kanjuro drawing something which, you know, completely plausible, I think Kanjuro is the one that does make on its face a lot of sense, even though not a ton of sense. You know, that would be really disappointing and sad. And I don't know if that's what he's going for, but we'll see. If he's alive, I'd be very angry if he's just like fully alive and made it through the vat of acid thing.
Kanjuro makes sense if that figure was Hiyori, not if it was Toki.
Yeah, I don't understand. That's the other part of it. I did want to mention, and Joey, I think, talked a lot about this on our chat when we were all talking earlier, but the idea of the fire festival with the spirits, and we talked about it a whole bunch here. I do really like that idea, and the temporary cameos, I guess, for lack of a better word, of dead characters. The only kind of hesitancy I have, and maybe Greg, you could ease my worries here, is that I think one of the biggest themes in One Piece is about inherited will. And, you know, taking from previous generations and bringing those into new generations. And I think having any dead characters come back, I feel like robs that a little, that theme. I mean, for me, at least. I don't know. Do you have any?
Do they stay back or do they visit?
Visit, but like even I guess them existing.
Visit, I would disagree.
But them
if they stayed back, yes, I agree.
I think them existing past their expiration date, so to speak. I mean, here Odin. Let's say this is Odin. Let's say this is Odin's ghost. Him being able to talk to them in the present day. I don't know. Like I feel like that inherited will thing demands that one generation cease and the next one begin in like a clean slate. I don't know. Maybe
but isn't that why this fire festival is the exception to the rule? Because it's honoring that generation, like regardless of what it was. It's kind of saying like we see you, we respect you, we love you, and we move forward. So I think that's why this could get the pass, if there is a pass to give.
Yeah. I don't know, like the permanence of death in One Piece, you know, has always been a major topic of discussion, especially since it took a very long time to see like death in real time. So I'm curious how that's going to be handled. I can't really have an opinion on it yet because it hasn't happened yet, but I'm a little wary. Though I do think if it's going to happen at some point, this is kind of the point. It makes the most sense. Any other thoughts? We've talked a while about this, so it's fine if you don't.
Costco orange chicken is pretty good.
Ah, is the Costco pizza in Japan also good?
It's decent. It's Costco pizza, but it's decent.
Costco hot dogs.
Costco hot dogs got them.
Yeah, okay, good,
180 yen.
Good. There you go. We'll talk more about Costco, but Greg, you're gonna head off, I assume. So where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Ochimusha108, and I have some new articles coming up. And let's just leave it at that for now.
Yeah, the rest of us are going to head over to the Piece Together segment to answer your questions about this chapter, and I know we got a lot, so let's move right into that. This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, theories, and then some of them are answered by just a regular ghost. I'm sorry, we don't have any special ghosts here with you, but we might have pirate ghosts. Yeah, that's possible.
Oh no, ghost pirates.
Dead.
It turns out it's just Steve in a ghost pirate mask.
If Steven comes into this episode,
You just
somehow,
killed Steve.
I thought you were
yeah.
doing a Hotel Transylvania Adam Sandler.
I know. That's my Venture Brothers pirate captain and Adam Sandler Dracula are the same voice, I guess.
Sam. I'm sorry, Ed. What's our first segment?
This piece.
Sam, do we have any questions on the old Discord?
Yes, we have a question from Big Mike who says, "Are you a Zoro or a Sanji?"
I am a Zoro.
I'm a Frankie.
That's not the question.
So,
Yeah,
so
but
if you're
I-
a Zoro, does that mean you're like Zoro or that you like Zoro?
But
Ooh,
you're
this is a
like
good
it.
question.
I hope
Yeah.
I'm
You
not
are
a Sanji.
Zoro.
Is this like a Team Jacob, Team Edward thing?
Yeah, I'm now I think it's asking us who we are. I don't know.
Wow.
But if it's like-
Depends on the day, really.
Maybe
a good point.
maybe it is a Twilight thing. Maybe this person's like, "Hey, I'm bringing it back."
If I have to choose between the two, I'm probably more like Sanji. I can
without
cook.
those terrible qualities that he may have.
Well, like, I'm saying more so than Zoro. I don't
Yeah.
get lost.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot.
I'm not as dedicated to hard work as Zoro is.
No. Yeah.
Sam.
I- The two things like I do really enjoy doing are cooking and kicking. So like I do do
My name
really
is
relate to
Zach.
Sanji.
I like
I will
to
say
cook.
that-
I like to kick.
And I like to kick.
I like to kick back. I will say that I do get distracted very easily when I'm in the middle of doing something serious. So in that way, I guess I am like Sanji.
My
Or
hair
Luffy.
I do
covers
get
one
lost in
eye,
the
so I
woods.
guess I'm Sanji.
Say that again, Donnie.
I was saying my hair does cover one eye always.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I guess I'm Sanji.
And I do get lost in the woods
On purpose.
on purpose. Yeah. I mean, does that cancel it out if I do it on purpose? Is that
Just make
Am
sure
I-
you tell your
am I-
loved ones where you're going, so
No.
don't get too worried about you, Sam.
Yeah, tell them Grove won.
What's next, Sam?
our next disc piece comes from Simp G, who I believe is a Sanji. Although he looks like a Sobo mask, so I can't be sure.
It's hard to tell. He's wearing a mask.
Yeah. Hello, my fellow deviants. I have a question for Steven over a piece of translation. I think we kicked this question. to Steven when it
Donnie
begins.
has to answer it though. 'Cause,
Oh, yeah. Well,
they're the
I mean,
understudy for.
I'm the first
Steven.
understudy. I think Donnie's my understudy, if anything.
Wow,
I'm fine.
putting our special guest as the double understudy to Stephen Paul. I see how it is.
I want to be special guest sometime.
I haven't worked my way up yet. I get it.
I have a question for Steven over a piece of translation, though anyone that knows can answer. The bloodline elements he wrote, I've also seen translated as lineage factor in both OP Pirate Warriors games and scans in the past. I think I missed the boat on the explanation, though, and have no idea what that means and why you have chosen this particular translation. Please help me, and also have a great day, all of you. And I think Steven's I believe Steven's answer in the chat was basically, it's a kind of cutesy sidestep of the term DNA, and bloodline elements and lineage factor are more or less synonyms. So it's kind of
Yeah.
So our
What's
next
next?
disc piece comes from Tommy. I'm a common writer who says, so years ago, Oda mentioned he was having trouble finding out how Luffy can beat the strongest creature alive. With the pleasures this week and Tama a couple weeks back, it looks like it's by turning his own stupid big crew against him. Any other ways you think you could see Kaido's own men against him?
Yeah, so I forgot who mentioned it. I'm probably stealing a piece together question here that I might have seen. But so Tama got the gifters, and then Queen put the pleasures and the waiters on the side of the Straw Hats.
Which is basically everybody but the commanders. And the
Toby Ropo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the numbers.
Oh, the numbers. I forgot about them.
So has everyone.
Says Oda.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm kidding. He'll probably bring him back.
Yeah. I mean, like, what good is just like an army of mooks, really, in One Piece? Like, what's that gotten anybody?
No, it's got no one anything.
You guys play the Pirate Warrior games. You know the answer to that.
You get punched a lot. What's next?
Our next disc piece comes from Big J of Today, who says, this is the first time in a while I've been interested in making guesses about a reveal. I think Oden is either one, Toki or Hiyori using a time fruit power to temporarily call someone from the history of time, parentheses, has thoughts and memories but will not last. 2 is a drawing from an either evil or reformed Kanjuro. Maybe he looks fondly on his time as a spy. 3, Gyukimaru or some other yokai shapeshifter type power. Hopefully not Katarina. 4, actually Oden somehow. Yeah, because I do kind of have an expectation that Kanjuro will, he'll end up stranded in some way without any family or team to call his own.
He's on Onigashima. He was beat up on the outside. We think he's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're in Onigashima, and Kanjuro's hanging around somewhere, being unconscious, right?
Right.
As one does.
As one does.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, being unconscious.
They could have murdered him. There's a very, very, very slim possibility of that.
Right. Our next disc piece comes from Super Nintendo Chalmers, who says, with the way this chapter ended, all I can think about is the absolutely bonkers fan theories we have had over the course of One Piece. What was the most insane fan theory you remember that has been 100% disproven? Lots of stuff.
I mean,
that's I almost feel like a better question would be, what insane theory was proven right?
yeah. I mean, the one that springs to mind is our friend Ian calling Duval's face.
Oh, really?
Way back in the day
Yeah,
on
that's
Arlong Park.
That's what I thought of immediately.
But look, I've been reading One Piece since 2002. I've been up and down the block with this so many times that as long as One Piece exists, there's going to be people making theories that are wrong. And it's gotten to the point where there are so many that I can't keep track of them all, and I've forgotten most of them. Yeah.
On the inverse question, I remember of, if insane things that came true. Somebody once, a while ago, somebody linked me to old tweets of my own where I kind of called Pudding being not that evil. When she was revealed to be evil.
She's probably
Someone
not
pointed out when I was discussing Sanji possibly finding Pudding's third eye to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Happened.
There have been, since we have 663 episodes of the podcast, which clock in well over 2 hours, just this manga recap alone, basically. There are things that we have said that are correct by complete coincidence of us talking enough. And then there are
Yeah.
tons of stuff we've said that are incorrect.
And we've probably forgotten most of it.
Yeah,
there's
I don't
something
remember
that
anything.
There's something I definitely called a couple chapters ago, or that came true a couple chapters ago, and I don't even remember what it was now at this point.
There was
I hate-
something.
Just an example.
Yeah.
Like my brother, like I guess like he needed things to listen to at work, so he started listening to catching up on episodes of Toon Sweet, and he's like correcting me on things I got wrong from episodes I don't even remember.
Oh yeah, I love listening.
It's like Sting was in the police, not Phil Collins. I'm like, okay, I guess I said
Whoa.
that on something,
you-
but I don't remember. And also, I know that it was probably just a spur of the moment mistake.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bad mistake. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god. No, I there is one. I do remember someone. I don't remember saying it, but someone linked us to an audio of me predicting the time skip before it happened, like in like random speculation. I think when we were in Impel Down. I'm like, I don't
the
remember
time
saying
skip
that.
in a
but cool.
shonen manga is not far fetched. So.
Yeah, no, and to be fair, I didn't remember that when the time skip came. I wasn't like, yes, I've predicted this the entire time.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
keep a super tight log. Well, because it's the ones that you like actually like put your money on or like really stand by loudly. That's the stuff that never comes true. It's always the.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, that's the
Just, like,
most important
incidental.
stuff. Yeah, if it does come
It's the most
true.
incidental, like just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks.
Yeah, I mean,
We talk
I've been
a
doing
lot.
that.
We say a lot of things.
We talk a lot.
Yeah, it's more that I
653 episodes.
663. See, he doesn't even remember how many episodes we've done. Can you believe that?
I'm just talking about the episodes I've been on.
Actually, that's
I've only
true.
missed 10.
Steve
No,
keeps a
okay.
tally.
He has like, it's like in a jail cell. He just keeps the tally marks on his wall.
I don't know. I don't think
Another
I've
one.
missed like a single episode during this pandemic era.
No, yeah.
Maybe wrong.
I think you've missed less than me. I think I've missed one or two. Even. Sam, what's next?
Our next disc piece comes from Herper Burler,
Good job there, Sam.
who says, Chopper for head of CDC vaccine distribution? In my day job, I actually design nebulizers, so it was fun to see a reference to that in One Piece.
I'm sure he's.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have we made a Tony Fauci joke yet?
We just did.
We just did. You just did it,
Congrats.
Alex. Good job. Not going to be the episode title this week, but good job. I'll rate it down.
Ha ha!
What?
That was me
Um,
laughing.
By the way, and now I'm just imagining, what if Tony Fauci looked like Chopper? Like, how would that have affected the entire pandemic, I wonder?
We would have listened.
Yeah.
How many
we
hit
would've-
R&B hits
would've
would
listened
have
to him
come
more
out in the
than
90s if there was a band called Tony Chopper?
These
I'll
are
wait.
all very good questions, I think.
This is a whole other hour of discussion we could have.
Absolutely. And we will at some point. Yeah.
Steven's thankful he's not on this week because he'd be like, oh God, kill me now.
I hear him
final-
saying that in the future, listening to this somehow.
Our final disc piece comes from Akaneko, who says, Hey, OPP, I'm generally pretty apathetic to the raccoon dog joke at this point, but this week's joke with everyone's reaction to Chopper declaring he wasn't one had me in stitches and made me happy. This long-running joke finally had a truly satisfying punchline. I thought the same with Brooks' panty joke in Whole Cake Island when he used that line right before striking down Zeus to get Big Mom away from the Sunny. My question is there a long-running joke character quirk that you are not a fan of / indifferent to? And have you had a moment in the series where that joke actually landed for you? It's a good question.
Just a comment on the raccoon dog Tanuki joke. If there was an arc to do it in, it's Wano. So
Yeah.
but,
They haven't
is
done
the
the.
running gag. It's a
I was just going to say
the
they haven't
question was
done
a
the.
running gag we're not a fan of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it ever like finally got to you.
They haven't done the Chopper, stop complimenting me, and then in the fan subs at least, shithole, fuck, whatever.
Fuckface?
Fuckface, yeah.
Don't eat my ass. Don't give me a compliment.
That's the true intention of the words that Chopper's saying that.
Ass eating is having a moment. So.
What?
It is. It's having a moment in society.
This is. Do you take surveys on that?
Running gag I don't like. I'm trying to think because there's always some that kind of like fall like flat for me.
Sanji's horniness.
Yeah.
Yes,
but that
Sanji
hasn't hit a good one yet. So for me, at least,
I feel like that's an easy answer.
That is a very easy answer.
See, but like I liked Sanji's horniness once they introduced pudding and we had a horny girl. Like that was a great
See,
punchline.
That felt a lot more endearing. I don't know.
I liked Pudding having nosebleeds. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah,
But do we consider that an extension of the Sanji jokes?
It's like a role
I do.
reversal.
I think
it's
it's a twist.
Mm-hmm.
It's pushing it so far it becomes funny.
I'm trying to think of. Sanji's
I really want to
the
give a good
fruit.
Yeah, I want to give a good answer here, but just nothing's coming to mind at the moment.
Oh, it's not. I don't know if it's a joke, but the long running thing I used to talk about all the time that I hate is when people get stuck in things and then can't participate.
I wouldn't call that a running joke. I would call that
The trope,
running.
the cliche.
Yeah, it's a trope.
Plot
Right.
device.
Plot
It's
device.
Goku in the healing chamber.
Yep. I hate that trope.
Oh, I love it
generally.
actually.
Okay, well, Sam, we have opposite opinions about everything, except for Toki. And Carrot's okay, I guess.
Maybe Usopp running away,
Just
and
okay?
then it leading up to the Perona fight where he ran away, but that was his whole plan.
Oh yeah,
Maybe that.
that was a good one. Yeah, or the whole negative thing, being I was already negative. Yeah, that was a good, I guess, role reverse. I don't know what to call that twist on that old gag. Oda does do a good job at taking recurring jokes and twisting it a little bit over time sometimes.
I don't particularly care for "May I see your panties" thing. It's
That's a stupid one.
It's
Yeah.
kind of. I think the Brooke has way better gags
Yeah.
than that.
I like when
think-
Brooke farts
Yes.
because he's a skeleton.
Well, he's the gentleman skeleton,
Yeah, he's a gentleman.
but he acts like a complete.
Yeah, he goes,
Yeah.
"Pardon me," and then burps and farts. Like I love that. Like
Which is-
my favorite. It's my absolute favorite thing.
I like that
Like-
too, and that's something
Yeah,
that gets kind of lost in the Rockstar Brook era, because
Mhm.
he's already pretty wild. There's no gentleman.
I mean, kind of. He kind of abandoned that after Fishman Island, honestly.
Or recently he's pretty more like in the last couple arcs he's been much more gentleman. Again,
Yeah, because he brought back the top hat. That's why.
yeah.
It's all in the hat.
That's
Anything
this
else,
piece.
Sam?
That is
Okay.
this piece.
Let's move on to Ed. What do we call it?
Oh, yeah, Zach. Why don't you answer some emails?
Thank you, Ed. Ryan has a question. Can I start the piece together segment? No, it's already started, Ryan.
Has Oda
Jokes
made that
aside-
joke yet? Like letting someone start the SBS
Yes.
like late?
Constant. Oh, yeah, I think he has. Done that. Jokes aside, I bet everyone is racking their brains, maybe for 2 hours, on how Odin could be here. My prediction is that Kanjuro made a clone of Odin to lull the samurai into a false sense of security and then strike when they least suspect it. He did it before with himself so he could kidnap Momonosuke, and I can't think of a devil fruit that could cause illusions. What do you guys think? So we have talked about this a lot. I don't know if there's anything specific you want to address there.
I forget if this was discussed at all, but just the fact that they were healed up, because that just makes me wonder. I'm like, all right, well, what was the deal with them getting healed up? Because I
Right.
feel like a more suspenseful thing would be Kanjuro finding them when they're like beaten nearly
Yeah.
to death, and he's just like, oh, well, I'll just come in, swoop in here, and finish.
Yeah,
them
But
off.
if it
why
was-
doesn't he
if-
just
if-
do that? Yeah.
If it was like Onimaru, that would make sense that he's healing them.
I don't understand why Onimaru would have any for the fox guy. That's who we're talking about. Gyakumaru, right? That's the other name.
Gyukimaru.
Gyukimaru. Why does he have any role here in this specific
I mean,
story?
he wants to help, right? Like,
I guess
he's
we
collecting
don't.
weapons.
He's collecting weapons. I don't know.
He's
I
the
want to see him
assistant helper
again.
of what's his name, the Shimotsky guy.
Oh yeah, I want to see more from them, but I don't know anything about them to be able to do that. Next one comes from Kai Jr., but you could call him Kaiju. He says hello again, OPP. That was their joke. I am back with 2 clone related theories. If you have heard them before, then they are indeed clones of my original theory.
Oh, this is Germal 66 clone.
What is this guy from Camino or something?
So first one, crackpot.
Depends how big your pocketbook is.
Crackpot theory. The non-dead Odin we see is an ink clone made by the non-dead Kanjuro. So we talked about that one. Why did he draw Odin? I don't know, to antagonize Kinemon or something. Jackpot theory. The SSG, what is that referring to?
Special Science Group, I think.
Oh, there we go. This, is made up of cloned pirate cyborgs, similar to how they did with Kuma. Edward Weevil is a failed clone that escaped. Also, great Chopper content to warm my icy Oni heart this week. There's a lot of Simpsons in this. I actually... Look, that is a crackpot jackpot theory, but that's not awful since it comes right after the page where they're talking about the bloodline thing. Like, what if there are just what if they just made Odin clones and they're running around the island?
Yeah, we thought that scene was there to punctuate the Momonosuke scene, but really it was there to...
Yeah. I think, that's super unlikely. Yes. Possible? Probably not. Plausible? Also probably not.
It's low percentage, but it's 8%.
It's a low percentage. It is, exactly. It's there. It could happen, maybe. What's going on Reddit, Alex? Alexander?
Here we are, sailing to the subreddit archipelago. Yes?
Continue, sorry.
Yeah. So, Zach, we have a lot of pieced together on Reddit today. We have about 21 or so comments. Unfortunately, I will not be able to read them all. We have so many. We have stuff that we've covered already in the manga recap and some of the previous pieced together segments. So, but thank you for writing in either way. This one comes to us. This is, I think, an excellent question from Bisexual Swashbuckler. It says, "Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope I can make it in on time. I have a question regarding politics. More importantly, the fan bases in general. One Piece is the type of story mostly everyone can enjoy, with the only exception being especially racist people who probably think Fishman Island is the worst arc in the show because of the themes tackled. But there's a big libertarian or traditionally conservative fan base who abide that the series generally is about freedom and standing up to government tyranny. This podcast itself is clearly liberal, or maybe even leftist in comparison, but still enjoy the story's themes. For the most part, beyond missteps in representation thanks to outdated comedy, I find One Piece to be a progressive story in most respects, but this has a largely apolitical right-wing following, and I wonder why exactly that is. Do you have any thoughts on this? Beyond this answer, maybe a fight together about the fan base could be a talking point."
So
I definitely see where the quote unquote libertarian appeal would be, because it's
it's a
very
big quote unquote there, because libertarian is a loaded. I feel like a loaded.
Right, but it's that sort of you trickle down economics, right? If you just do what you want, and that's just going to naturally benefit other people, I guess is the logic.
Well, Ed, maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, but libertarian as just an ideology sitting there without any of the baggage around it, maybe.
Well,
But
people who embrace that
libertarian-
ideology tend to assume that we have no responsibilities to each other, that
to
it's
each
all
other.
every man for themselves. There is definitely a collectivist spirit, I think, in the models of good governance that we have. Granted, there's monarchies, but it's always these selfless monarchs who are held up as the most moral in One Piece. So you have to be giving more than if you are a king, a lot is expected from you, and it's usually not going to be fun for you.
I think
if you're a good king.
I think the idealistic look at freedom as just you could do whatever you want to do thing too. I guess I could see the connection that some libertarian fans might have to that, but then as Ed said,
Luffy,
Yeah.
Luffy's a hero because he doesn't want to be, because he's not trying to be. Like, he's just trying to do what he wants, and what he wants just happens to involve helping people. Is sort of like is what's cool about Luffy, and I think that's where people might make that connection.
I mean, look, I'll say the first episode I think we're going to be running for the next season of Fight Together does delve into this a lot, so we're really surface level here. But I guess if you take Luffy's ideology as the ideology to take away from One Piece, and
right.
I think that's mostly the case.
But then I would follow that up by just saying that that's mostly a product of like just cool or like good storytelling
Luffy
has irony to it. It's like it's got like a fun this thing is this despite being this, yada yada.
Well, I guess back to the original question. Why are there right-wing or why are there fans of the persuasion, of the bigoted persuasion, I think is specifically what the question was asking, right, Alex?
Or yeah, despite the fact that it's a progressive story, it has a large apolitical right-wing fan base, and the why to that.
See, that's such
my personal take.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my personal take on it is that a lot of people who don't want to think about politics and the things that they watch, and they just sort of they want to have that become a separate world to them, despite the fact that there's clear ties to ties and allusions to politics and real life themes.
Star Wars being kind of as clear an example of this as you can get, right? Where there's definitely an audience that demands that it's only like this separate fantasy world and like resents. They only see the progressive stuff in the new movies, and they don't think of the old movies as being about rebellion and from a guy who was gonna make a Apocalypse Now about Vietnam.
Apocalypse Now was about Vietnam.
Shonen is power fantasy, so of course,
yes,
there's that too. There's that too.
People like seeing themselves in that. They like being strong.
So
I'll say. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I've actually had experience with the right-wing apolitical part of this fan base because last year I had a thread about the different political stuff and anti-fascist stuff in One Piece that blew up, and I dealt with a lot of very angry quote retweets or a lot of people basically saying, "Oh, I'm an idiot. It's literally just a show about pirates searching for their dreams, and it's only about achieving your dreams." So I think a lot of the fan base really do just see it apolitical surface level. They don't want to read into more of it. Maybe they just don't have the literacy to read into more of it, and they just assume it literally is just pirates on an adventure, and there's nothing more to it.
But even those people probably don't even fully believe that. Like that's just their.
I don't know. No, look,
that's how they can support their just being mad at other people. Basically,
also possible.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's like I gotta believe that this thing is just, or not even believe it, but I gotta say that this is not what like they see a progressive person enjoying it, and they gotta make a reach to suggest that they're wrong. Or
one of those that happened to me too last year, and some wild takes.
Yeah, someone told me that Luffy was actually a fascist, and that was a good thing. And I still
I saw that
from
I
that
think.
one. Yeah,
that's a take. That's a take.
I mean, I'll for it.
That's
there's a contrarianism that kind of comes with that. Those people who
in Fight Together, we discussed it pretty in depth, especially that specific topic, Donnie. And I think, part of this is that privilege argument. And I think Brian explained it very well to me. And also, I think when you don't need to worry about politics, when you sit in a place where, a political discussion doesn't affect you, that is a place of privilege. And therefore you don't have to worry about those things, but there are people who do have to worry about those things because their livelihood, their life is at stake because of those things. And to think that Luffy is an apolitical character, bring it back to One Piece here, and as someone who does not care if others are in peril, is just so backwards from the Straw Hats we see, where he cares about. Let's just look at Wano here. Otama being poisoned and starved on a daily basis, and because she was nice to him, and because he had those connections with her, he knows that he has to stand up to fix those problems. That's what politics is. That's what, standing up and being an activist is about. And activism. And that is what One Piece is about. So to say it's apolitical, to say it's both fascist, it's a whole other level of crazy, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know if that answers that.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, really great question. Thanks a lot. Lord Nemo 593 says, "Hi OPP. Oda really loves drawing his villains chilling with animals for these recent cover requests, such as chapter 996. We saw Hippo and Blackbeard brushing their teeth. In 998, we saw Enoru sleeping with a cat. In 1002, we saw Lucci feeding pigeons, and in 1005, we saw Katakuri with puppies and kittens. And now in this chapter, Gangster Gastino, aka Caesar, with penguins. So, which villain and animals do you think we're going to see in an upcoming
Caesar's
chapter cover
Gastino.
request?"
Sorry.
Whoa.
We should have
Just blew,
spoiled that for Sam there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big spoiler. Sorry, Sam.
So
Not-
what was the question?
Not to throw in another crazy theory into this episode, but
I didn't hear the
Yeah.
actual question part. So
Oh, no, I'll repeat it. Which villain and animals do you think we're going to see in an upcoming chapter cover request? And what would you request?
We should talk to Noda Skywalker about this. Should send him some
Oh,
of
yeah.
our
we should just send
requests.
in our own requests.
Yeah. Well, we
We
can.
should, like
know,
after the
the-
podcast, we should
Yeah.
collectively settle on something.
Well, let's
and
do this
send it
right
in
now.
and see
What-
happens.
What should we
No,
do?
no. We need to request a cover story for Katakuri. Just Katakuri's day off because everyone left Whole Cake Island. He's just chilling, having tea parties and donuts and shit.
But it's gotta be like it's gotta be a little abstract. Like it can't be like something that is canon.
So I'm trying to think. Big News Morgans is a personal favorite of mine, and was in the podcast at least during Whole Cake Island. So I'm trying to think which animals prey on. I think he's an albatross. So I'm trying to think of like what is the enemy of the albatross, and I'd love to just see
the government.
this. According to me, just literally Googling it, it says predators of albatrosses, this is fun, include humans, sharks, cats, and rats. So
Rats.
I think with cats would be especially great, just to see big News Morgans with a bunch of cats trying to eat him and him trying to take pictures of them or something. And there's
I think it'd be not an animal, but I think it'd be really great to see Big News Morgans with a sailor tied around his neck. Nobody's gonna get that. It's fine. It's very smart and funny.
Thank you,
it
Alex.
is.
What's the next question, Alex?
Sure. Born to Boil says, "Hey OPP, greetings from Denmark. Not long ago, Oda mentioned how he has ideas for 30 pages, but has to cut them down to 19. The story in 1006 and 1007 feels like it was a 30-page chapter, but in my opinion, a bit slow-paced between being split. That being said, I love that Oda is giving all the Straw Hats some attention. Do you think One Piece would work as a bi-weekly series with 30 pages per chapter? And is it something you would want to see?"
Joey presented this question a few weeks ago.
I like this idea personally.
I like the idea too.
Yeah. Even though for the podcast it would make it super, well, maybe not super complicated. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, podcast aside, I think it's a good idea.
Do you think that are there any other manga that are bi-weekly like that, 30 pages? Because I know that Full Metal Alchemist was
Monthly.
like that, but it was monthly.
Yeah.
It was more than 30, wasn't it? I thought it was like 50. Those were really long chapters.
Yeah, because they did like 4 chapters per volume, I think. It was like 45 pages to 50 pages.
Yeah. Those. I mean, I I'm always torn because I do like getting a big, like, you get a lot happening. And imagine with One Piece, like 40 or 50 pages, you get a lot happening per month. It's like you're forced to marathon it every month almost. But the problem is you got to wait a month, and that is not an easy task, especially for One Piece fans. Yeah, it's tough. Us included, that would be a lot. But the thing is, it's been so inconsistent lately. And I don't know about all you guys, but that's tough for in a different way, and just the unpredictability of it.
Yeah, the 30 pages sounds like a good sweet spot. Like you get a little wiggle room to flesh certain scenes out. He doesn't have to come up with, he has to come up with half as many like cliffhangers, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
let those panels breathe.
Yeah, it'll never happen, obviously, but it's fun to see, think about what could be.
Maybe.
So I'm only gonna do a couple more because a lot of the questions that we got were covered earlier. In regards to
Oden character.
Yeah, in regards to all the Oden talk, I feel like we've covered it at length at this point. So 23 years virgin says, "Hey OPP, the other day I stayed up late playing The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past randomized, and I pretended to be sick in the morning and called in sick to work, so I didn't go so I can keep playing, and that made me think of a question. What reason did you pretend what reason did you pretend so you could do something selfish? For me, I faked my grandmother's death 4 different times."
Oh my god.
One for each new Halo game. Cheers and keep up the good work.
Only up to
I'm a good boy, and I don't.
No, I do not. I will not test karma like that. That is, I mean, all my grandparents are passed away, but that still feels like I mean, as a kid they weren't, and I would not have done that. I don't have that kind of. I want to say cojones, but I don't know. That might be another word. Yeah. I want to judge.
I mean, I've definitely. I'm pretty sure I faked the doctor's note one time when I was in high school to play hooky. But
yeah, my style was ditch class, and if they asked why, I just said I didn't feel like going.
See, in law school though, I went to New York City to go to a concert with Zach on a Sunday night. Took an overnight train home and just went to class instead of going home to sleep at 9 a.m.
Yeah, college and law school, if like you really need to skip a class, it's easier because they don't usually notice or care. Yeah.
I skipped the second half of a class to go check out the Giants Super Bowl parade, and I really didn't have a good excuse, so I just had to come clean because I'm too honest of a person.
Yeah, I do it the honest way, or I'll just leave the reason out if I have to like reschedule a day so I can play the new Pokemon or something.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I do that. I always make sure to clear a day on a day a game comes out that I want to play.
Yeah, these days I just call out sick if I want to, wait for a video game. Although I haven't done that since Smash Brothers 4. So
don't feel bad about it because I earned that time off. Because
that's right. Yeah.
If my boss is listening, I have never done that before. He said
your boss is asleep at this time of night.
No, that's the older one. But the younger one said he sometimes tries to listen but doesn't know what we're talking about and then turns it off.
Oh, come on. Wow. We spent an hour talking about a possible dead guy being a ghost. He would have tuned out a long time.
Universal. No.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's a universal experience. He'd understand.
That's true.
I guess at my old job, I definitely called. Like I said, I had a doctor's appointment. When in fact I had a job interview. So I guess that's
that's not irresponsible. It's the opposite of that.
No, yes, that's bettering myself. Okay. Let's see here.
Any more?
Yeah, we've got a couple more that I'd like to cover. OPP, this is one of Big Mom's kids, by the way. OPP, hope you're having a great day. And for Steven, of course, a chill day. It's great because Steven's on here. He's chilling out. Now let's get down to it. This question's for Zach. If you had to choose one of these 3 characters to join the Straw Hat crew, who would you choose? Your choices are...
Oh, no.
Satori, who would do his terrible ha-ha-ha laugh at every heart-wrenching moment.
Oh, I don't like this question.
Absalom, who would make the ship his very own wedding ceremony every episode and make the ship showers completely vacant. Oh. Or young Orochi, who would constantly ask for money in the middle of every fight. The choice is yours. How will you ruin One Piece? Smiley face.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it says, "P.S. I'm 6'1".
And tons of
think
fun.
Yes, think I'd fit in Yamato's breast strap. Well, probably because Yamato is a very,
How
very
tall is he?
tall dude. I think we've talked about how tall Yamato is.
Do we know? Did we get
Like
I
multiple Luffys.
It's like 10 feet tall,
Yeah,
seemingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 foot is like nothing compared to that.
So like,
But back to
answer
the question at hand.
To answer
Zach.
the question, Orochi would be my answer there. At least he has a good devil fruit power, like a cool devil fruit power. And it actually sounds kind of funny that he comes in the middle of fights and asks for money.
Yeah, that's
really
honestly
funny.
a good gag.
Yeah.
That's a good gag.
that is a good running gag.
It's like, hey,
I agree.
guys, I know you're busy, but
Yeah,
I need something for
like
the vending
Zoro
machine.
is losing gallons and gallons of blood, and Orochi's
it's like, hey, can you spare a coin?
I just need a few dollars.
Can you spare $1?
I need about
He would
$3.
ask for more than that.
Yeah, like Absalom literally would be committing crimes on the ship, so I'm not for that. And Satoru
Well, that would
is
ruin. Absalom would ruin it the most.
Yes,
Yeah.
he would absolutely ruin it the most. But Satoru is the worst character just as a, not like character-wise, but like everything else.
No.
got balls.
Here's how to ruin One Piece. Every meal is made with what's his face's noodle snot.
Oh, Wanze.
Wanze.
That's a good addition. Same voice actor as Satoru. If you hate him.
I'm imagining
That's why I thought of
an alternate reality where Orochi did join. So when you go to like get One Piece merch and they have like, collectible plates that have a character and a famous thing they say on there, like Zoro saying, it was absolutely nothing. Or Sanji saying something like, thank you for all the damn things that you've done for me. And then for Orochi, it says, hey, buddy, got a quarter.
No, what they should do is if they have arcade One Piece games, when you need to enter more money, it should be Orochi there. Please insert your quarter.
Doing that,
Insert into his mouth.
That trope of like
Yeah.
wringing his hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Whatever that is.
I don't know what
I like that.
is.
All right. Secon 98. Sorry, there's two more I think I'd like to get through before we
Go for it.
move on to the thing that Ed likes to do. Hey, OPP and my little brother recently got into smoking because of this podcast. So I was hoping if you can read out loud this anti-smoking message I made.
Absolutely not. Smoking is
Yeah, just not. Ready? Here it is. Hey there, kids. It's the One Piece podcast coming in hot to tell you that smoking is cool. Wait, that's not the message my brother must have gotten access to my phone and changed this. That's a great gag. I love it. No Sonata stuff this week, which is
That's good.
God.
That's good.
Yeah. I smoke thanks to OPP, says from last week's talk. I got the idea to propose smoking breaks at work for looking cool. Thanks, OPP. Now I look cool for half an hour every 2 hours.
I do think smoke breaks are bullshit.
a half hour every 2 hours. That's perfect.
It's really, really good.
Half hour for 2 hours.
So, anyways, I think that does it.
Wow, we're really like doing a public service.
We really are.
Donnie, I hope you don't think us as a podcast is bad because we're encouraging smoking accidentally.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask, like, Donnie, I hope.
Kills jacket today because
Oh,
perfect.
yeah, spread
Good,
a better
yeah.
message.
Yeah, thank you, Donnie, for counterbalancing the
There's
rest
gonna be
of this
there's
podcast.
gonna be a new line called "Smoking Thrills."
Anyway, that does it for the Separate Archipelago.
Yeah. So Ed, what's going on next?
It's Peace the Tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, I know we got a lot this week, so good luck.
Unfortunately, we won't be able to ask everyone this week, but I'll start off with Straw Hat Friend, who says, "Hi, OPP, jumping right on board the speculation wagon. I predict chapter 1008 will begin with Kinemon wordlessly walking up to Odin, then forcefully pushing him into the ground with a gentle there. To which Odin will reply, like hell, I'm going back, and smack him, on top of the head.
I'd be for that.
I wish.
I'd be for that. Yeah.
All right. Our very
I
own
don't see
Abby
him doing
Denton
that. But, yeah.
has a-
Abby
has a-
Denton
writes in with a piece of tweet, says, long-time reader, first time remember to write inner. Is it not possible that simply Bon-chan freshly escaped from Impel Down, trying to help in a manner that is at best insensitive? This would mean Bon met Odin in the past. I smell a flashback. Well,
Or maybe the fruit still has the memories of everyone that the old lady had.
Oh God, what is this? What is this one for all? Jeez.
Was that it?
Matt Martin has a theory that this is clearly several tontatas standing on each other's shoulders with one who just so happens to have a similar face to Odin. I always knew Oda had big plans for them.
Oh, why have we already decided the episode image?
Yeah,
These
now
are
I want.
great.
These are great. I am very upset.
It's a tontata with like a really big head.
I'm just imagining the Tontata has a full size head that it can't even keep up under its own body weight, so it just like drags behind it at all times with the Odin thing. Because also Odin is enormous compared to a regular person.
Bubblegum, and I have a huge head.
Just Odin talking
It sounds
in
like
Tontata
that.
speak.
Oh yeah, Ed, you could do what
I
would
was
Ed?
born to boil.
There you go. No, Steve just did it, so you're
Okay.
good.
All right. Nefertari Salem has a list of possible explanations. He's alive, and Toki's power can reactivate from a long range. Two is Mr. 2. It's Onimaru. Odin has a twin brother. Advanced hockey like Jor-El.
Yeah.
Awakened Odin fruit. Or
Okay.
Yamato's
That's a
twin
weird
brother.
one. Yamato's twin brother. Possible.
Wait, Yamato's twin brother, is that?
Yes.
I guess. I mean,
Actually.
he is Odin after all.
He is Odin.
Oh
That would
wow.
make sense that his twin
That-
looks exactly like Odin.
That sounds like a really good sitcom. I would watch the two of them.
Odin and no.
Odin
my-
and Yamato together.
My brother
Can-
and Odin.
If this in quotes Kozuki Odin runs into Yamato in this arc, can they do like the mirror spot where they each like kind of raise a hand one at a time and just mirror each other?
the possibilities.
Yeah.
I love the mirror gag.
Oh, I did. You know what? This,
You are me, but I am you.
on a completely like serious note, I forgot to bring this up during the manga recap, but like Sanji is headed potentially in the direction of this Odin. And Jack is as well. So that just like raises further questions as to what'll happen there.
Would
I
it
don't
be
know
funny
what.
if Sanji beats up this Kozuki Odin because he doesn't know who he is?
Can you beat up ghosts? I guess that's the real question there.
Maybe with hockey.
Well, then he gets unmasked. It wasn't a Kozuki. It's like Odin Ghost at all. It was
It was Odin.
Bunch of Tontatas.
unmasked like Odin Ghost to reveal it's Odin.
It's Odin posing as his own ghost.
It's like
What I want to know
yeah,
is if Odin is a ghost or is he a good ghost?
that's a good question. I think he's just a regular ghost. What's the next question, Ed?
Is he a friendly ghost?
All right. Our very own Brian Newton writes in to say, let me paint a picture. Kaido could have lied about shooting the old woman. And maybe this isn't the devil fruit we thought it was. Maybe this clone fruit was successful. So, I don't know, maybe he's saying that Vegapunk or somebody made a smile clone fruit, I guess.
Too many,
All right, enough.
too many devil
Enough.
fruits that
Brian,
do the same
okay.
thing.
Okay, next one comes from Pau Hueltini, who says, I believe that's his spirit. His presence in the world was so strong that his hockey allowed him to create a print so he could see them again. But who am I kidding? That's clearly Bonnie. Well,
It's Bonnie.
I guess.
That's what she looks like when in her like 40s.
Mhm.
That makes no sense, but okay. Oh, maybe it's a pizza pie on Bonnie's head there. Maybe that's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
Abby has another piece to tweet here. Let's read
Okay.
this.
Yeah, that's
Long
right.
time. I was just thinking about this Odin thing. There was another man, wasn't there, who died to save his people from burning, only to rise again? Godin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'm thinking if Odin's hair is actually a pizza, then it's like it's not delivery. It's
Dejodin.
Dejodin.
It's
That's
Dejodin.
flavor.
There we go.
Oh my
Stuck
God.
the landing.
Do you think his hair is designed that way so it kind of looks like a halo?
Kind of does.
You like rip off the hair. It's like he's been dead all along.
I am so angry at all the more amazing episode images we could be having here, but no.
It's okay. This is just a diagram of what can we do with Kazuki Odin.
This is
post chapter 1000.
This is us as Charlie and It's Always Sunny, and then this is Odin, and this was also Odin. You know the meme that I'm talking
The
about.
Pepe Silva.
Pepe Sylvia. Yeah,
Right.
That's it.
Friend of the show, Doctor, writes in to say, "What if everyone is dead and this is actually the bad place?"
Also possible.
All right.
God,
Gabe Ruiz.
Well, you guys are Lost fans. You'd love that.
That was a good place joke, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it could be both because the Good Place, they actually worked a lot with I think Damon from Lost. So there's a lot
Lindelof.
of losses for
I was
Lindelof.
gonna say you're on a first name basis with Damon Lindelof.
Well, here's a little trivia for those who haven't been listening to us forever. There is a very familiar person who managed to get a question into the official Lost podcast when that existed to Damon and Carlton Hughes. That was
Still
on
first name.
that was on this episode of the podcast. Yep. It's a big
All right.
hint. Yeah, go ahead.
Next one comes. Well, it's kind of two questions from Gabe Ruiz and Ulysses Sanchez Perez. It says, "This is about Vegapunk. We learned what Vegapunk used for creating his failed artificial devil fruit. It was Kaido's bloodline elements. Is the reason that it's a failure? Is the reason it's a failure be revealed, or was it ethical? Because if it worked, the government would capture fruit users for their entire life to weaponize their fruit." And Ulysses further posits that injecting Borsalino's bloodline elements could have been used to create the pacifistas.
Yeah, we talked about that too. I think that's maybe they just don't like Vegapunk. Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe he's
like,
got too much ethics for them, for the world government.
I don't know about that.
Hmm.
All right. What's
All right,
next?
let's see. There's a few more.
Odin
No,
questions.
let's see. Let's just do one more here. No, these are all the same questions, speculating about the same people that we think is Odin. Is it Orochi? Is it Kanjuro? Is it?
Wait, Orochi?
Orochi's dead.
Well, no.
Oh my god.
Can't argue with that.
No, I mean we've gone through pretty much all of this already. So
Sam, I think we need to create a segment for you at one point called Sam's Unpopular Crackpot Theories. Or Sam's Unpopular Opinion Corner.
you can rotate it, with
What's
Which
it about?
includes what? Toki's alive and Orochi's dead.
and Sam's Caribou Love Corner. We
Yeah,
can do
Sarah,
that alternating weeks.
Wait, do people not like that bit?
All right, so that's going to do it for Piece Together. Let's do some trivia and round off.
Okay.
Been the One Piece Podcast, episode 663 for March 15th, March 14th, 2021. Pi Day. Although you'll probably be listening to this after that. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming on the show. I'll make one announcement here at the end, besides plugging our Patreon at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. So I am going to be having a baby at the end of May. And so therefore I will be gone starting in May from the podcast for an indefinite amount of time. Hopefully not for that long. I just don't know how long because, I've not had a baby before and I don't know how much that'll eat into my podcasting schedule. The number one priority.
It'll be harder when he gets older and develops personality, honestly.
That's true. That'll be when.
like
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I am a 3-time
You're an
uncle.
uncle.
I'm a 3-time uncle at this point. Children for the first 6 months are, very cute, very needy houseplants.
Well,
I said the same thing to a friend of mine and their daughter.
except that they have to be up every 3 hours to.
I don't know. The older they get, the more interesting children get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with houseplants. I have 2 dogs, who, I'm used to the whole.
They probably
poop
chew
regimen.
the house plants and then they go out in the yard to throw up.
No, they do that with sticks, but that's a whole other topic for another day. But yeah, I want to thank ahead of time. I don't know. I want to thank ahead of time Steve, Alex, and Ed in particular for handling the reins of the podcast while I'm going to be gone. And they have said I don't think there's going to be any trivia, so I'm trying to get as much trivia in before I leave. They might do some other fun stuff.
We'll bring David Bednar on. That's what we'll do occasionally.
That'll
Keep him
work.
locked in a cage and be like, write more puns.
He's in the David cage. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
God.
thank you for all the.
I would
comments.
I would love to see a David Cage game by David Bednar. I think it would be a lot of fun.
The Farrah David Cage.
Episode title.
I've got jokes.
Daniel Farrah David.
Daniel Farrah David Bednar Cage. Anyway,
Alternate titles for our Lost podcast.
yes, these are all. That's what we would call our Lost podcast for some reason. So yeah, thanks for everyone for all the kind words on Twitter as well. But before we go, how could people find all of you out there, Donnie? How could
You
people
can
find you?
me on Twitter at the DR Monkey. I actually can't. Oh yeah, it's the DR Monkey on Twitter. You could also, if you want, find me on YouTube, Dr. Monkey Productions. Right now, there hasn't really been a good video since like 2018, but I'm currently doing a revamp, and I just started writing the first script for my next video, which is One Piece, a different kind of power fantasy, where I talk about how One Piece's power fantasy for most people differs from a usual shonen one. So hopefully I can finish that video soon enough.
And Donnie is also on our transgender representation episode of Fight Together, which was a lot of fun. And
That was great.
and really good discussion. Probably the highlight for me for the season. We have one more episode left, but I assume will be the highlight of the season. So please listen to that, which will be out April, May, somewhere around there. Steve, where can people find you?
You can find me at steveyurko.com and follow me on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Steve Yurko. And check out my Twitch channel. The username is also Steve Yurko.
Sam.
They can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw.
Alex.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at dude exclamation, all one word. Listen to me on Tohoyaro, the Japanese Film Club podcast that I do with Joey and V. Twitch.tv/superartfight. The season is now over. I am the reigning champion. Thank you very much for tuning in, those of you who did. And I'll let you know when season 3 starts. But until then, a lot of crazy, cool stuff happens on that channel. So check it out. Follow at superartfight on Twitter for updates on that. And yield my time.
Congratulations, Alex. And Ed, where could the good people find us?
Well, you are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am Edward E. One Piece. I'm also at Weeb Trailers. Podcasts can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. Please subscribe, Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. You can subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, on SoundCloud, on iHeartRadio. Subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number, Zach.
And that phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again, 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your questions, comments, theories, whether you're
Maybe
a
not your
person,
theories.
whether you're a person or just a regular old ghost, or, you know, if you are, tell us about your swords, because we're interested in ghost swords.
Just so you know, if
yes,
you're a
Steve.
ghost and you want to send in a question, we'd need a Ouija board.
That's true. It's complicated. I think ghosts use the phone number the most, which would explain a lot. So yeah, check that out. We're gonna do a little bit of dead trivia today, which seems ghost trivia. So I have the One Piece wiki open, which is always right about everything. And I'm gonna pick a random character that the One Piece wiki claims and may be dead in the One Piece world. And you just have to guess which character I am talking about. Okay? I'm just going to say random facts about this character, and you figure out which it is. But they're dead as far as
This
the One Piece
includes
wiki is
flashback
concerned.
characters. Just any character who's dead.
It includes flashback characters, animals in the One Piece world.
The game's gonna be hard if there's a character you like stubbornly won't admit is dead.
Yeah, it will be harder if you do that. This is One Piece Wiki.
Like
All
Monet
them.
and Virgo are definitely not dead, but we will definitely hear their names. Spoilers. I'm ruining the game a little bit.
I'm randomly picking, so you might hear their names. You
All
might
right,
not.
let's
There's
play
actually
the
a lot.
game.
Alex is ready to go. We're going to go in the same order as the recap and first 3 wins. But I'm going to do jump ball, so it might end sooner. Ed, you were first. Here we go.
Okay.
Random. Here we go. I am picking. Who is this person? Let's find out. Holy crap! I don't remember this person. Okay. This is a pet of Helmeppo. And this pet died. I am going to give you the choice. You could name the character, the pet, the animal, or just the type of animal it is, and I'll give you the point because this is hard.
Was it
How
like
do
a
we
pet?
jump ball?
Like a pet lion or something?
What?
No, it was not
No?
a pet
Jump
lion.
ball?
Dog, wolf.
Steve gets it. Wolf.
What the fuck?
What was the name
I-
again? Because I
I called
vaguely
ball.
remember it.
I should.
That's not. No, you just say it.
We've done this so many times. I never knew yelling ball was.
No, that wasn't.
I don't know. I'm jumping up to get the ball.
Does
You said jump
anyone
ball, so I'm
does
like-
anyone know the name of it?
I knew it was
Oh,
a
it
wolf.
sounds
I don't.
so-
Nobody knows the name of it except for Greg.
It's like
and
right off the
Steven.
tip of my tongue.
Look, I'll
But,
give you.
uh,
Here's a hint. It was killed by Zorro, a name which
That
rhymes
doesn't
with
sound
it.
right. He's probably
No.
gonna kill the dog.
No, a name that it rhymes with.
Boro?
Sorrow?
Sorrow is correct, Sam. So I'm going to give Sam an extra
Oh,
point
wow.
as well. Sorrow.
George Soros?
And I'm not going to give a point for this, but does anyone know what the Viz name is?
Doggy?
Wolfers.
Solo.
Oh.
Really?
Sorrow. Solo.
Han Solo.
boy.
Donnie, I'm going to pick a random character. Here we go.
boy.
A truly random. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. It's a baby. A dead baby.
Oh. Gimlet.
Yes, correct, Donnie.
Ooh.
Very good.
Okay.
Could Zach have said that with any more glee?
Yeah, he was so excited.
Sorry, it was just like, oh, I'm going to be a father. I'm taking a break soon. Dead babies. I'm like, ugh.
Wow.
That's
I have a
lovely.
flashback back to college. A lot of jokes.
God. Sam.
Yes.
This character debuted in chapter 5 and died at the age of 11.
That'd be Kuina.
Correct. Sam has 2 points. Alex, let's pick a random one for you.
All right. I hope
Unfortunately,
it's as easy as the last two.
let's find out.
It's random.
It is random. Yeah, I'm like pointing and closing my eyes and scrolling up and down.
I bet it's somebody from like the last 3 chapters or something. That's usually what it is.
Okay, this character debuted in chapter 550. Also appeared in episode 0. Her birthday is June 10th. Which character is it? 550.
Chapter 550.
That's the biggest hint. She appeared, I think, only 550 and episode 0 she was in.
She's only in chapter 550.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think we see her again.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
she's
okay.
dead.
Then,
So-
okay, not the character that I was thinking. And she's in chapter 0. Interesting.
Or episode 0. I don't know if she's in
Episode
chapter.
0. Well, I mean, episode
Yeah.
0 and chapter 0.
I assume it's the same. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow, this is a super good question.
I have an idea.
Same.
Let's see. Not her. I'm basically going through who I remember.
There's a
in
lot of
Yeah.
a lot of dead
Chapter,
women in One Piece. Yeah,
chapter 0, 550. Ah,
gonna have
Oh,
to
boy.
give you. I have to give you a little countdown here. Not any specific countdown, but a countdown.
is it a character that I'm gonna know the name of?
Yes,
Oh God. Okay.
it's an important character.
Only shows up in one chapter. Oh, is it Nico Olivia?
No, chapter
it
550.
Rouge?
Jump off.
It is
Ah, you
Rouge.
damn it.
Took it.
Ugh.
I got the jump
knew
ball.
it. I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rouge.
it took.
Damn it.
I must admit, it took me some time, and then when I was like, I'm thinking of that part of the story, and like, who's like would have only showed up twice like that? I'm like, who's not that important?
Who is a dead woman?
Steve,
I was also I couldn't place when 550 was. I'm like, that sounds like Thriller Bark, and my mind initially was like, oh yeah, Sindri.
Well, 60 is always Romance Dawn for the New World, so that's how I can sort of remember that.
Okay, that's volumes, not chapters.
You know, 500 is when Rayleigh showed up, and they leave at the beginning of the 600. So you know everything in the middle is that crazy stuff. Steve, this character, he is 64 feet tall.
That's all?
That's it. He's dead. He was 105 when he died.
How much feet again?
64.
64 feet. And
It's
he
like
died.
literally.
And it's I think I know who it is, but I just forget which one's which.
He's
It's like
64
literally
feet tall.
10 times your height.
105 years old. 105.
Mm.
Born March 6th. His birthday's March 6th.
Oh, happy birthday.
105. Hold on, I'm just being cautious here. Is it
Cost you time.
No, it doesn't. These don't matter. None of this matters. Is it like Jorl?
No. Jump.
Is it Saul?
Saul?
Yes. I heard Ed first. I'm sorry, Sam.
Damn it! I was gonna say Saul, but I wasn't.
We need like a buzzer.
We do
now
need a
that's another conspiracy theory here. Zach didn't give me a chapter number, so
No, it was
It's
too
not a
easy, I
conspiracy
thought.
theory.
It was
It's
too
really
easy.
Jarl and Yorl are like in their 300s.
They're in their 300s. That was the big
Yeah,
deal.
Giants
that's
lived.
why,
Giants live a long time. Ed, let's pick a
Conspiracy.
random one for you here. You have 2 points, so you can win with this one.
Okay.
But I don't think you're gonna get this one.
I mean, the first one I got was pretty hard. I've been poaching these.
Yeah, you have been. By the way, the score: Ed has 2, Donnie has 1, Sam has 2, Alex has 0, and Steve has 1. This character's bounty is 42 million berries. And he's famous for something involving death. But he's dead. He's the one dead now. Supposedly. I don't really think he is.
Yorkie?
No.
Okay.
It's Roshio the Executioner.
Oh,
Yes, Alex. Good
dang it.
job.
Nice.
one more time.
Yes.
Who was that? Who was it?
Roshio the Executioner.
It's murked by
Oh.
Bellamy.
yeah, I
he's dead?
hesitated.
No, this is One Piece Wiki.
Yeah,
This
is what One
doesn't
Piece
mean
Wiki
they're
says.
actually dead.
I'm sure
as
he's
I
not really
preface.
dead. I'm sure he'll show up in like the final battle. or
Yeah,
something.
One Piece Wiki I think is way more trigger happy to use the joke.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Okay, so next is Donnie. Okay, here's the character
Wait,
I chose.
What's Ed's? Oh no, Ed didn't get the point.
Ed has 2, so he did not win. So Donnie, but Sam and Ed are both on the precipice. So if either of them get a jump ball, that's it. Okay, this is a really hard one, so I'm going to give you a lot of information. This was Shoo Shoo's pet shop owner, the original one.
Yeah. What was his
Oh.
name? I can picture his face perfectly in that whole flashback. But
If you give me a very detailed description, I will give it to you.
I
I think
mean,
you might be
and
thinking
or-
of a living person, though.
No,
I'm
this
thinking
one
of the
is
dude-
dead.
Didn't he because there was a flashback of him building the shop and he had like a bandana on his head, a little scruff around the face, I think.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give it to you. You're
That
Gaston,
wasn't
and
that
that's
detailed,
mostly
though.
I would have described it as like a soul patch.
And he had like a skull cap.
the skull cap.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
skull
Boodle.
cap, not
Boodle's the
bandana.
mayor.
Okay. No, I know it's
Does
not
it-
Boodle.
Does anyone
Yeah.
want to give a shot at the name? Does anyone know the name?
Charlie.
Got me. I don't know. No idea.
Anyone?
I don't know.
For some reason, I'm thinking
Scott.
CH.
Scott.
The ch sound.
Here, I'm gonna give.
Il
This is gonna be
Palazzo.
just for Donnie, so only you could guess. But it's something a store owner does. Is also the name of. Is kind of also the name of the person.
Oh.
All right. The answer is hawker. Like your
Uh,
hawk goods, I guess, is
yeah.
the
Hawker.
joke of. Yeah, I don't know if
Like a
that's
data
what
book
it was
name?
named after.
That might be a data
No.
book name.
That might be a data book thing.
And
How strong is
Trey
it? How strong is his hockey?
What's his bounty?
Oh, his name was revealed in Blue Grand Data File, so Blue. And the Vivre card gave his birthday as May 17th, so coming up soon.
We never actually saw him die. He could still be alive. He just walked off screen.
Could totally. Sam! All right, here we go.
Sam, you could win.
She appeared in chapter 775. And you know what? That's all I'm going to give you.
So dead character.
The less I give you, the easier it is. That's your hint. Yeah.
Okay.
So dead character. So she is 775 her first appearance
And her only appearance.
775. So let's. I know the time frame.
And she is dead. Like I am almost positive she actually is dead.
No more hint sack. I want this jump ball.
Sam.
Yeah.
I know. Oh crap!
I'll let you know when the jump ball's available. So just stay on the edge of your seat, please. Sam, I'm going to give you some amount of seconds.
Oh, Lammy.
No.
Russian.
Yes.
Oh.
Boom. Caught up, baby.
All right.
Alex is back in the game.
I keep
Alex.
hesitating.
Who's next? Alex?
Hesitation. What is it? Hesitation is.
Anticipation.
hesitates is
The
lost.
He
board
who
game that's
hesitates is
also a
lost.
video game.
Fear is the mind killer.
Okay. Who the fuck? Wow.
Who is this?
This is
for?
a hard one. This is for Alex.
Okay.
You could win with this, but this
We'll
one
see.
is insane.
Right.
So I'll give you a lot of information. That's the good thing. This is a character from Oda's one-shot Monsters, who has his name tattooed on his face.
DR.
Yes! Wow!
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow! Alex wins. Congratulations.
Wow.
Good job. Sam would have known his bounty was formerly 1.8 million. So there
Is
you
that
go.
the
wouldn't
guy
have
who
known.
looks like a Gotenks kamikaze ghost?
Kinda, yeah.
He looks weird, but not like. Nah, he doesn't even look that weird. He looks oddly normal, if not for the DR on his face.
I was ready to say Gil.
Oh, Gil.
Oh,
Gil.
yeah.
There's I'm
So that's it for dead trivia. Congratulations,
Cool.
Alex. You know the most about the dead
next
people.
And next time you come up to Washington, you can buy me a taiyaki because there's
Yes.
a new taiyaki shop in Chantilly.
Oh no! Oh no! I owe you taiyaki.
Yeah, you're,
Have to
yeah,
pay
you're
up.
doing that for like all of us.
Yeah, I know. But we're allowed
Everybody
to get
come to
together.
Virginia.
You know what? I'm going to be happy enough that we could all get together. That I'll be happy to get everyone taiyaki. I'd be
I mean,
happy.
Actually,
we can
I
get together,
found my,
but people just don't support it.
Yeah. I found my ticket from Tokyo Tower earlier today, and it's been almost exactly 2 years. It's like
Crazy.
in 2 months, yeah.
Yeah. That's going to do it.
right.
So there's no chapter next week, but we're going to be going through volume 11 of the One Piece magazine with Steven. The following week.
Back.
Yeah. We don't even need any understudies. But thank you all for being Steven's understudy this week.
Take
All
a
of you.
hike,
Anytime.
Sam and Donnie.
Oh, fired after my first day on the job.
We'll see you next week, everyone. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
My name is Alex.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.